Hello and welcome back to the National Volleyball Center here in Kettering. We are just about to watch the culmination of the day with the men's cup finals between Malory Eagles and Essex Rebels. A battle royale and something that we have definitely been looking forward to all day. First service this evening is going to happen at 7 o'clock, so you can see in the background the guys are just warming up right now, getting themselves ready, and we are going to be headed off for this one. We're just going to pop down to our courtside team now to get some intros before the game.
Welcome to courtside here at the National Volleyball Centre in Kettering. Mike Huntermice alongside Alex Chinnery to preview this game, along with obviously Jess up in the booth. And Alex, we've seen these two teams go at it all season long. 3 games in Bucks, 2 in the Volleyball Super League. Every single game outside of one has gone down to the wire. How exciting a cup final is this?
Oh, it's the perfect matchup. These two teams, they know each other so well. The coaching staffs know each other so well. The two teams match up incredibly well against one another. It's definitely a styles makes fights kind of game, and these two teams slightly opposed in the way they play, but that's just going to make for even better, even more compelling viewing.
Yeah, indeed, and obviously we'll focus on the Super League. Obviously we know Essex Rebels won the Bucks National Championship 3-0 against UEL. A lot of similarities, that's why we're talking about it. But the 2 Super League games, the first one being on the 1st of December down in Cobham, where Malory came from behind to win it in the 5 sets, and then the Super League live on the 1st of March at the Essex Sport Arena. And that was one of the games for the ages. People are saying maybe the game of the season in the Super League.
Yeah, I mean, the way that both games in the league swang back and forth between the two teams was outstanding to watch. Absolute appointment viewing for the whole time throughout. Both these two teams are stacked with guys that can play, and guys that play in a way that's great to watch, and that's why I'm so excited for this final.
Yeah, and obviously Malory coming through in the 5th set, 15-12, but that 5th set wasn't without some dramatic moments, blood stoppage on court, a lot of big plays. But first of all, we'll have a look at our league champions of the Super League, the Essex Rebels, obviously head coach Alex Porter. And Alex, a strong season for Essex, but it didn't quite click at Final Four, didn't quite get over the title. You've been in and around the group. Just talk about how the group's feeling off the back of the Final Four to start with.
Yeah, I mean, the group itself is, they're hungry. They're hungry to win on this stage. They're hungry to come out and really right a bit of a wrong from the Final Four. You know, they weren't super happy with the way that they played at Final Four, and I think that some of that, they want to come here and win a gold medal on this stage. So, you know, I think it's incredibly important with what we're doing and what they're doing here, what they're able to get done.
And you talk about the familiarity there, of course, Carol Gordon, Thomas Chapman, and that's the familiarity of the programmes. But we'll talk about, obviously, the regular season for the Rebels, really strong, but they've done it with depth. People have stepped up. There's been some key injuries. Jacob Kearns missed some games. Cam Kern missed the opening day of the season. Thomas Chapman, Hassan Farhat, who's still out. Just talk about how much that depth has really helped the Rebels team in tricky moments.
Well, I think it's that, and I think it's in practice. Knowing that you're sharpening yourselves against great players day in, day out in practice is massive. But, you know, Newcastle Knights made the Final Four. When Rebels beat them in January in the league, it was essentially a second team that played in that game because they'd beaten Durham with the first team the day before. And I think that's what's massive for this group and what they're able to do. You know, they're able to come in and use the depth and trust people in different moments, and that's going to be key for what they do today.
Indeed, and we'll talk about some of the players in a little minute, but I think the big thing for Rebels is obviously having a couple of weeks off to rest the bodies. There's a couple of tired bodies at Final Four.
They played a lot of games, you know, getting to Bucks final and winning Bucks, getting here obviously to the National Cup final, Super League and the Final Four. Something like 40 or 44 games they've played this year. So yeah, there are some tired bodies and there are some people that are ready to go now that maybe weren't as ready to go 2 weeks ago.
Indeed, and obviously we'll see some of the Rebels players warming up, and obviously getting Tom back in particular. really, the plan was not to play him in that final 4 game in the semi-final, just because he was fresh off injury, and obviously you're thinking about 2 games in 2 days, and had to put him out to win the semi-final. But he's such an impact player.
Yeah, massively. The way Tom goes, the way the team goes, essentially. You know, we know JK's going to come in and be outstanding. We know Cam's going to come in and set really well. If they can get Tom going, it gives them a really good opportunity to split the block, split the way teams are playing, and it makes it really, really hard to stop this Rebels team, to stop this Rebels offense.
Yeah, and I think the guy just to our right, also crucial, Devon Pascal. Ultimately for him, for Devon Standard, he disappeared in that final against London Giants. He played set 1 and ultimately found himself on the bench set 2, 3 until late set 4. We know in that first set, when these two teams met in March, Devon had a monster set. It was, I think, 9 points in set 1, but then went quiet. So how important is it for him as the middle to set the tempo early on in this match?
Oh, massively important. If he can be there in the block, if he can be a force offensively, it just opens everything up on the Rebels side of things. You know, that's going to be key. Start in the middle of the court, dominate the middle channel, and then move out.
Indeed, and we're going to throw up to our commentary box team where Jess Smith has one of our Volleyball England Award winners with her.
Hi guys, I'm joined here by Wilton, who's a representative of Brazucas Volleyball Club, who just won the Hucknets Volleyball Club of the Year.
Yeah.
Massive congratulations, Wilton.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about the club and what you guys are all about.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to receive these awards as one of the best club of the year by Volleyball England. And we are just a new club. It has been 3 years that we are working to embrace diversity and inclusion. Is so many awards we get all this year, so we are super happy.
Yeah.
It was an amazing day today, being here, surrounded with a lot of players, amazing players and teams. It's amazing.
Yes, no, definitely. And it's a really great news story as well to see, you know, you guys are so focused on diversity, but that's such an important part of volleyball as a community because we can be a diverse, you know, volleyball is open to literally everybody of all skill types, all, you know, racial and
no matter
sexual
the
backgrounds.
background.
Exactly. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter who you are. Everybody can enjoy volleyball. So it's great to see you guys getting
Yeah.
involved in that way. So
Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to us. It's important to talking to this topic because diversity inclusion is a trend, is there, and is going to be for a long time. And we need to talking about so many policies that have been created, and there are people there waiting to play volleyball.
Yes.
And the volleyball is already inclusive. So it's amazing to be part of this
to build
project.
on that.
Yes.
So if people are interested in you guys as a club, where can they find you at?
So please find us through the www.brazucasuniverse.com or our social media, Instagram, Facebook, Brazucas Universe, @Brazucas Universe. Please send in a message. We are happy to share stories. We are happy to build and embrace it together, a team, a club, and more than that, a community where you can feel safe.
Amazing. No, that's fantastic news. And if you guys want to learn more about the 2025 Volleyball England Awards, just like this one, do check out the Volleyball England website. And we're going to pop back down to our courtside team. Thank you so much, Wilton, for your time. We really appreciate it, and massive
My
congratulations
pleasure.
to you and the
Thank
club.
you.
Yeah.
Welcome back to courtside. You see the captain's just in front of us, just on the toss. 1-0 Malory, Alex Janui. Logan Clark called it correct.
Yeah, they're going to want to start with some impetus, whether it's on serve or receive. We didn't quite catch what he chose, but they're going to want to start fast and make it happen.
As we see if Logan Clark's going to give us the intel. Serve or receive, Logan? There you go, so Malory going to open up on the serve reception. We will talk about the Malory Eagles now. We made our way down to this end of the court, Alex, as the team photo is about to happen. And Malory, super experienced coaching staff, strong season, second in the Super League. And again, similar to Rebels, Final Four didn't go their way, losing in that dramatic fifth set against London Giants.
Yeah, I mean, it was so close in that fifth set, and what happened. And for them, they will feel like this is a chance at redemption. This is a shot at the final that they feel they should have been in at Final Four, and they've got the opportunity now to come out on this stage and make something good happen.
Indeed, and obviously the experience of the coaching staff being aggressive fashion, losing that semi-final is always one of the toughest games to bounce back in the third, fourth, and to clean sweep a tough Newcastle side 3-0, big testament to the culture of the Malory group.
Yeah, 100%. And that will have done wonders for their confidence as well, to make sure they came out and had a big impact and did a really good performance in that game against Newcastle, which they did. And now they have the opportunity to come out and win some gold at the end of the season.
As Malory going up for the team photo, and we'll just break down Eagles' season. Obviously, the 2 wins against the Rebels, probably the staple highlight of this team. At one point, they had the league in their control, and then slip-ups, especially in set 5, losing in Nottingham, losing against London Giants, it didn't quite pull through. What did you see change from this Malory side that kind of gave them those little hiccups and road bumps?
Yeah, I think at times they just weren't able to kill the ball in the big moments. They weren't able to put the ball away in those 5th sets. They just couldn't quite do what they wanted to do in those big moments. And if you can control those big moments, it gives you the opportunity to come out and be successful. But they just couldn't quite get it done in those sets like they could against Rebels in the games that they played against them.
Yeah, and I think we expect this game to go close. So the fact that how much of a psychological advantage is it for Malory to know they've beaten Rebels in both 5th sets? Because Alex Paul going into the Final Four talked about his confidence when it got into the 20s. But Malory have won a lot of the close sets against the Rebels.
Yeah, it's a very good point. You know, Essex coming into this off of winning Bucks final. I know it was against UEL and not the full Malory team, but that will have given them a lot of confidence. But there's definitely a confidence factor for Malory as well, having those wins under the belt, knowing when it gets tight they can probably outlast.
Well, it's very interesting right now. Just a little bit of a sneaky preview that Ewan Fraser's at the net setting, which we don't see too often in warm-up. Obviously, Fraser's moved to the opposite position, letting Cam Kern have a hit, and now Cam goes into the middle position. Maybe just a little fake out.
No, I mean, they do it in the warm-up most of the time. That's how they start their hit and warm-up. The libs get a swing, the setters get a swing, and then we're off and we're good to go.
So let's break down a couple of these Malory Eagles in front of us as they're warming up. And obviously, in the start, the guy hitting right in front of us, Nathan Fullerton, the best opposite in the Super League, there's no doubt about that. But Nathan's had highs and lows this season, hasn't quite found that consistency. But we know in big games, he's going to take the big swings when it matters.
I mean, one of those lows was below the floor at Cobham a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, he's such a great player, such a great person, really good character. He turns up in these big moments, and he'll be wanting to put right last year's cup final, where a really costly error probably halted Malory's momentum and cost them that game. So, yeah, they'll want to get back to where he was 2 years ago when they swept Rebels 3-0 and he had a fantastic performance.
And we talked about Pascal, the 2 Malory middles, Logan Clark, Dylan Cohen. Cohen was obviously our the player of the game in that 3rd, 4th game. How important is it that they can find timely kills to just disrupt and just take some pressure off the outside and of obviously the opposite in Nathan Fullerton?
Yeah, I think efficiency is the name of the game for the middles today. The more efficient they can be, the more likely it is that they come out with a win. I don't think they need to kill many balls. I don't think any of the middles need to get to double digits, but I do think they need to be efficient in the way that they attack.
And obviously, it wouldn't do justice before we throw up to Jess and get ready finally for this game. We don't talk about defence. We know defence can win championships, and we have 2 of the best liberos. Obviously, Malory missing Remy Cardo, but a subtle and very good replacement in 2012 Olympian Dan Hunter, and obviously on the Essex side, lefty, don't need a lot of saying about them, but how important is it that both those establish early that serve-receive element of this game?
Yeah, I expect the 2 of them to dominate the serve-receive, really make an impact on it, and just come out and have fantastic performances.
Alex, last thing, game will be won where tonight?
Serve and pass.
Serve and pass. We'll take a quick break here at the National Volleyball Centre.
Massive thank you to Alex Chenery and Michael Hansen-Morris, who is going to rapidly make his way back up to the commentary booth so that we can pick back up for this match. And Stan was just saying, who's our local MC, and Mark Perkins, who's on MC tonight as well, just saying how tasty of a match this is going to be. And I completely agree with that. These 2 teams love to go to 5 sets. We didn't see them play one another in the Final Fours. However, we have been looking forward to this for a while. just a bit of a reminder from those Final Fours. And I will just note that this is from 2 different matches rather than one single match, but some standout pieces for us. Jacob Kern with 40 kills, 2 blocks, and 3 aces in that weekend. Nathan Fullerton, powerhouse that he is, came in with 33 kills, 7 blocks. Massive, massive performance from him. Going to see plenty of great performances from all of these guys. Ewan Fraser has a big impact on how the Essex Rebels play on any given day, and whether or not the Malory Eagles can get their middles running will make a big difference to them. So, tasty match incoming. Definitely looking forward to that. So, I'm joined now by Michael Hansen-Morris, who I'm going to hand over to, because he is much better at leading this than I am. So I'll leave you in his capable hands, but I will still be here to add a little bit of color and flavor to what we're talking about tonight.
Thanks, Jess. And there's teams started to go through the back end of the warm-up. We're touching on it with Alex downstairs, Jess, the libero element of this game as well, with 2 really good liberos in, Lefty and Dan Hunter. And talking about that serve-receive unit, probably the weakness for Malory, I think, going into this year, the serve receives has gone up and down. Dalton Bunds got benched against Essex in that league game. So how important is it for you that this first 10, 15 points trying to set a stall out in this game?
I think I can't agree with that anymore. The service reception piece is going to be so important, because one thing that can happen with both of these squads is they can become quite one-dimensional, and all of that hinges on whether or not they can get a good pass in. So that service reception is going to be such a key element from the start, so that both setters can establish their middles, vary up the offense, and not just rely on 1 or 2 key players.
Indeed, but as ever here in the Super League, we will have a look at a couple of key players to watch out for as this game goes, and we will start with the Malory Eagles, and we'll start with the Essex Rebels, in fact, as that's the one that's on screen. In fact, we've got a little bit of technical issue. But, Jess, we'll start with Malory, and we'll start with Ben Kwame. Probably the one that goes kind of under the radar a little bit with the hitting attack. But the thing with Ben is he can either be hot or he can be cold. So how important is it for Malory to find an extra hitter in Ben just to be consistent? Because we know Dalton Bunn's going to take a lot. In fact, we're going to talk about Essex. We'll go back to Ben Kwame. We'll start with Thomas Shetterman, another one for Essex with their injury history. But again, he's that 3rd hitter on the team. We know where the ball's going. We know it's going to go to Ewan Fraser. We know it's going to go to Jacob Kern. So how important is it as a 3rd hitter to really find some impact early and often in this game, and not just rely on 1 or 2 options?
I think this is going to be the key decider on whether or not either team is able to throw off the defense and the blocking of their opponents. So if they can get these other hitters into the mix, we saw it in the Final Fours with Malory getting a couple of their other hitters in. Rebels did a great job of mixing things up, getting their middles involved, which is not something that we see from either of these teams as much. But I think Thomas Shatterman is so good from the outside, and he's really good in defense as well. So those 2 components, we have to get him in there.
Thomas Shatterman on the season, serve receive rating of 2.3 on the dot. Serve is only at 70%, and the serve errors we'll talk about in a minute as well, I'm sure. Hitting 227 with over 130 kills on the season. Now for Malory, we've already briefly talked about him, but Ben Kwame, that hit and miss element for him. But Ben is a person that shines against the Rebels. He always seems to have his best game against a team he knows well and he's got so many friends with.
Yeah, so he knows the players that are across the net from him. He knows what kind of blocks and where they're going to stand in defense. And as an undersized hitter, he does tend to hit quite intelligently. So the more he knows his opponent, the more intelligent his shots can be, because he will hit these guys with precision. We've seen it before in the league matches, expecting to see it again in tonight's matchup.
And we talked about that serve-receive element. So important for Ben Kwame to really hold on that serve receive. We know Essex like to go big on serve. This is what lost them the final ultimately. They didn't have a good serving day against London Giants in the final. So for Malory, having Kwame be able to pass efficiently is going to be important. Kwame, 2-2-0 on the season, but he's gone as high as a 2-7 in this third four against Newcastle. He passed a 2-4 on 17 balls. So that really important serve reception element for Kwame is going to be important to get Joel Martinez in position to set the Malory offense.
Yeah, exactly that, because if they become one-dimensional and they're relying completely on Fraser, then it could, if they're relying completely on Fullerton, it could make them quite one-dimensional, and we know that Essex can put up a good block, especially if they know where the ball is likely to go to.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts and predictions in the comments on the chat. And I see a couple of you joining us, including Neil Ray, who did a great job with you in that semi-final game where Malory Eagles fell to London Giants 3-2.
Yep. Big shout out to Neil.
I mean, he said you're go-to commentator and I'm not, so I'm taking offence to that. So,
it's just an American thing, you know.
Of course. But great to have all of you with us at home in what should be a thrilling final. Alex said it. This is the kind of the final people really wanted to see as well.
Oh, yes, definitely. I was just saying it actually while I was waiting for you to come up here. This is the match that everybody has been looking forward to all day. Both of these teams love to go to 5 sets. They have a great history of matchups. And honestly, tonight, this could go either way.
Indeed. And obviously, we need to talk about Cup history as well in this. This is the National Cup. Malory, 17-time winners of the National Cup, but they went through a dry spell, 2011 to 2022. No appearances, and then obviously made a little bit of run, including last year, losing in that game in the final to Durham, 3-1, 25-23, 25-20, 23-25, 26-24 as our officials for the game get introduced onto court. In the chair umpires, our first referee is Sebastian Wilders, and our second referee, Martin Shakespeare, as the Essex Rebels, only their 3rd year in the Cup, hadn't entered the Cup prior to the end of COVID. Runners-up in year 1, where they lost to the Malory Eagles in 3 straight sets. Then semi-final last year, and then obviously 3rd appearance, 2nd time in a final. They'll have a chance to go for it as the Essex Rebels starters are about to come onto court, and they're led out by number 29, Jacob Kern, number 13, Devon Pascal, number 15, Ewan Fraser, number 17, Thomas Shudderman, number 18, Thomas Jefferson, the second middle. Their starting setter, number 97, Cam Kern. And, of course, the libero, number 3, lefty Ianu Jess. Jacob Kern's the key for Essex, surely because of how high volume he is, right? 61 attempts in that final against London Giants.
Yeah, massive number of attempts. Across the weekend, I was saying, you know, he had 40 kills. But I think the key for him is going to be service efficiency, I suppose. He had 13 service errors in the weekend of the Final Fours.
It's definitely going to be the area to watch is how well Essex serve. Because if they are serving on their day, no passing unit has complete success. Essex will have 8 to 10 aces. The last time these two matched up, Malory didn't have an ace on serve as well. I was talking with Jefferson Williams about that as the Malory Eagles roster coming out. And they're led out by number 4 and captain Logan Clark, and the rest of the starters. Number 1, Ben Kwame. Number 8, Nathan Fullerton. 300 plus kills on the season, hitting nearly 350 despite the high volume. Number 15, Dalton Bund. Number 18, Dylan Cohen. And the starting setter for Malory, number 19, Joel Martinez. And then, of course, the libero, number 3, Dan Hunter. Joel Martinez won this job. This was a battle all year. Jefferson Williams said multiple times to us he didn't know where he was going to go, and Martinez has been a really steady influence for Malory. He's going to hold a lot of the keys. Yeah,
but he can only do so much if the pass isn't there. I think that's going to be such an important factor, you know, in the men's game especially. Service pressure is a massive piece. So if you can deal with that service pressure and put in a dime pass, which we know that the Malory Eagles are capable of, and same for Essex Rebels as well, how that passing goes is going to be a big determinant in how this match is likely to play out. Now, both of these teams will have their ups and downs, so we could be in for a 5-set thriller tonight.
Well, if history goes by, we were talking about it downstairs with Alex. 2 5-setters this year. Malory winning both 5th sets 15-9 and 15-12. As we're about ready to get underway in the National Cup final here in Kettering. It's been a day of pretty much clean sweeps, just one game, not going to 3 sets. As we're getting a countdown from our MC, Stan and Mark Perkins, as we're about ready to go in the National Volleyball Centre. The Essex Rebels women, some of the team are here, some of the Malory Eagles girls also here ahead of their appearance in the Cup final. And we're about to get underway. We heard from Logan Clark, Malory won the toss, elected to receive, and it'll be Cameron Kern, the setter for the Essex Rebels, to get us underway here in National Volleyball Centre. Just the final checks going on, and we are ready to go. 17 times winners, Malory Eagles versus the Essex Rebels, looking for their first win, and Dan Hunter with a pass right on the 3-metre line. Back set, Fullerton misses the baseline.
First
but they're
referee
going to call
overruled.
a touch, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a massive first pass from Dan Hunter there. We were just talking about how important the service reception is. Nathan Fullerton getting that early kill, getting a little bit of a block touch there, establishing himself.
Ianu, Cam Kern, back set to his brother Jacob, off the block, out by Cohen. And Malory can't convert on the first serve. One side out each, as Logan Clark from the middle runs straight past the Essex bench. Leaves the gym, not quite sure what happened there for the Malory captain. But he's obviously, being a middle, you've got the luxury of leaving the gym occasionally. And it'll be the other Kern, from one Kern to the other. Jefferson Williams just gets a clarification from Martin Shakespeare about something. Jacob Kern to serve for the Rebels. Dalton Bunn, lovely high pass, overpass in fact. Jefferson takes the free ball, set out to shut him in. And he's going to get called for the net touch.
Sorry, that ball's going to be called out. I think it just brushed the antenna as it walked
Oh,
past.
brushed the antenna, good spot. Line judge just in the front of us, but either way, error for shut him in. And Malory 2-1 lead, and it'll be the setter, Joel Martinez, to go. Martinez would be third in assist percentage. Didn't quite get enough attempts over the regular season. He was splitting time as Fraser into the block. Fullerton rolls over, well picked up by Fraser, coming off the net. Shut him in, goes to the tip, misses the court.
Yeah, 2 errors in a row there from Shuttleman. He's just trying to change things up. I think that set's a little closer to the pin than what he really wants it to be. So he's not looking quite comfortable there. Interesting to see Fullerton not going with a heavy swing, but his cut shot not being quite cut enough.
As Martinez barely clears the net, one-handed for Kern, and Jefferson into the net, but it's interesting early. We talked about, we thought Kern would see a lot of balls. The clear intention, and Essex will know it. They overset Jacob Kern down the stretch against the London Giants. Got to get other people involved. Thomas Jefferson, haven't seen. Here's, see where they go. Going to Jefferson, off the hands of Cohen. Finds the floor. Martinez couldn't quite pick it up, but back-to-back sets for TJ. He converts on the second.
Yeah, I really like this from Cam Kern to just go straight back to his middle, where that first ball was a little too low for him. He knew that that set was wrong and it was his fault. And then showing Jefferson that he's got the confidence to put him up a good set for that second attempt.
So Jefferson the middle, back to serve. Fullerton waits on it, goes cross court. Jefferson with the middle defense as Jacob Kern tries to rescue it, but only rescues it into the net. And shut him in, obviously on third touch. No way you're getting that over.
Yeah, not out of the bottom of the net like that. We've seen some crazy plays, but that involves some physics-busting skills.
How much spin can you put on the ball from one knee? Obviously, great to see Shuttleman back in health as Bunn goes down the line. Another one-handed set by Kern. Ewan Fraser beats Kwame on the one-on-one.
Yeah, we're just going to watch this one again because, sorry, technical issues. We're not going to watch that one again, just kidding. However, that was a beautiful one-handed set from Cam Kern, much higher than the first attempt that he had on that B-ball for Jefferson.
Fraser, perfect receive by Bunn. Fullerton into the block. Martinez is going to be able to spread it out to Kwame. He goes for the touch off Kern. Nathan Fullerton setting. That's triple block for Kwame. Ianu with a big pickup on the cross court, but it'll be a free ball for the Eagles. Fullerton takes it right on the 3-meter line. Cohen, big hand by Fraser. Rebels defense really stepping up this rally. Shut him in with the tip. Martinez plays the out of system ball. Fullerton goes for the tool off the hands and wins the point. Really smart by Nathan Fullerton.
So smart. Two-handed tip. He knows exactly what he's doing there. But we saw two really smart plays from Kwame as well playing. He knew that he had a huge block in front of him, so just pushing that two-handed ball up and high enough that he could give himself some self-cover.
See some of the Durham players joining us in the chat as well. Coach Max Gibbons, obviously Essex Rebels beating Durham Platinums in an earlier round as Fraser clears the baseline, nearly takes out spectators on the back row. Essex Rebels coming through a tough task. It wasn't an easy matchup for either team, seeing the Durham Platinums that early on in the competition. Obviously Durham, the reigning champions from last year. Essex winning that round 2 match at 3-1, but they'll need some points here. Shutterman has to wait on it. Goes cross-court, Bunn with the touch. Kwame into the scorer's table.
What a swing from Shatterman, but all of that was only made possible because of that incredible one-handed, just palm up, get the ball up in any fashion. Such a great reaction play.
This is why these two teams are so hard to beat. Defenses making plays left, right, and centre. As it'll be Shutterman with the serves, gone to that kind of jump float serve of recent times. Clark, his first attack, finds success, and it's so important. These Malory middles have had some big games against Essex. When they met in December, Cohen and Clark combined for 18 kills on 33 swings with just 2 errors. As Ianu takes the ball, tight set, Kern able to rescue it, and Pascal beats the one-on-one, and Cam Kern. That's the difference with Malory. They're a little bit smaller in the setting position. Those tight balls, Nata's done a great job, but Cam Kern's able to rescue so many balls he shouldn't get to.
Yeah, he makes some incredible one-handed sets, and the accuracy is quite high, actually. I know there was that one that was a little too low for Jefferson a few points ago, but overall.
Pascal, Hunter, Kwame into the block. Pascal plays it over, so free ball effectively. Martinez goes for the set. Dump, doesn't get it to go. Kern, one-on-one, obliterates the volleyball. Kwame gets a touch on it, but Joel Martinez, you've got to be so careful going out of system on the second touch.
Yes, that was a really great read from Jefferson there to get a hand on that ball. Smart from Schatzman to just put up a high ball for Kern, and then off the dome.
Kwame waits for it, splits Shutterman and Pascal. Brilliant by Ben Kwame, that's why he's so effective.
That was such a smart swing for him. He gave himself that little bit of extra time. He has a huge vertical, so he's got that kind of pause midair. Saw the gap in the block, saw how much space there was, put it between the Essex defenders.
Kwame, perfect pass by Shutterman. Jefferson on the decoy as Kern misses the ball. Goes, I think he was thinking there might have been a touch, but that ball way over the baseline. Nothing given by any of the 4 officials. Not a massive argument by Kern either.
No, I think he would have been very lucky to get any fingertips on that. That was a bit of a wild swing.
As the 2 Durham players in the chat seem to be having an argument with each other as Kwame pushes it wide. And that's the frustration, I think, with Ben Kwame. His serve's been up and down. He's serving at only 75% despite really going to more of a hybrid serve to try and increase percentage. He's just not quite found success across the season.
It's a bit difficult because sometimes you think a lowish service percentage might look bad on paper, but actually, is he putting up high service pressure overall? Because if he is, it might be worth it.
Kern with a big touch. Ianu into the sky. Jacob Kern goes over his head, back set style. Decoy, Bunn misses the swing on the cross court. Got a great read, one-on-one against Fraser, and he'll want that one back, but again, the hitting areas, both teams knowing they need to go power to beat the opposition.
Yeah, I think the speed of the offense from Malory at the moment isn't quite fast enough to beat that Rebels block. They're getting a pretty good, well-formed, well-closed-up block.
Cam Kern on the full rotation, so Malory leading on that first rotation, 10 points to 8 there. Key things to look out for, like we've seen a couple of times where these teams have gone deep in the service rotation and the rotations come 25 points in. That was 18. And second time through for Logan Clark. Kern, flick set to Jacob Kern. And Bunn can't quite squeeze down on it enough.
Yeah, Bunge not quite getting there. Cohen had no chance of making it out to that block because he was being held by Jefferson in the middle. So that one just came off of his head on the way out.
So Jacob Kern, the really big server for the Rebels, straight at Dan Hunter, pinpoint pass, and no mistake from Cohen on the giveaway, and Dan Hunter showing his experience. Jacob Kern is such a weapon on the service line, and Hunter, that is a definition of a three-point pass.
Yeah, a bit surprised to see them aiming at the libero, considering the experience that Dan Hunter has, as Martinez just puts that one into the net.
So this gap kind of hovering at a 2 to 3 point Malory lead for it as Bunn with a great leave on Jefferson.
Interesting to see that. So we saw that in the Final Fours as well. There were quite a few serves that came close to him, and then he just looked like he was going to play it, and at the last moment, you know, very casual, lets it go by him.
A couple of service errors, shut him in. Pulls Kern to a knee. Fraser goes up against double block. Ridiculous pickup by Dalton Bunn. Fullerton from the free. Ianu with a one-handed dig of his own. Great defense. Martinez out of system. Can't do a lot with it. Fullerton against the triple block. It's blocked by Devon Pascal, the Super League leader in blocks. And Jess, we get to see Pascal line up his first of the day.
Yeah, you can see he's well over the net, but he knows that he's too far inside and adjusts his arms to hit to block exactly where Fullerton's going. He knows where that ball is headed. But again, the fact that they've got a triple block up against Fullerton means that Eagles are just too predictable in the offense.
And Cohen again finding success on the reverse. This time nothing Pascal could do, wasn't lined up at all with Dylan Cohen, and he'll move back to the service line. Dylan Cohen, his first year from Menlo College, same school as Jaden Scott. We'll see Jaden in action for the women tomorrow. He misses the baseline. Third service error for Malory, a team that needs to keep the errors down just because they don't create a lot of aces. So the big thing Malory is get ball in play, and so far 3 service errors isn't ideal.
Yeah, not the best of starts from them. And I was just about to say some positive things about Cohen because he was so good at the Final Fours.
Shut him in. Halfway up the net, I think is the best way to describe that one, Jess.
Wild toss, wild swing. You know, from a serving perspective, even if you're not doing a jump serve, the toss is the most difficult part to master. When you're adding extra motion and jumping into that, it gets even more complex.
Nathan Fullerton, the Malory leader in aces. That's tight. He'll get to play at Martinez. Fully in system Malory. Bund from the sneak from the pipe. Finds the floor. That's a perfect execution offense for Malory Eagles. The fake middle and then Bund from behind on the pipe.
I really like that. So the Americans tend to call that the BIC, the backcourt quick, and that was such a good stack. So well disguised.
Dan Hunter read it perfectly. Kwame going to attack it because it's inside the 3, and he beats Ianu on the one-on-one. The Malory bench explodes. Jess, we need to see that again. Dan Hunter rescued it, and then Kwame over the double forces Alex Porter into a timeout.
I mean, if I were Alex Porter, I would be asking for a timeout as well, because genuinely, for his blockers, that's a very high hoisted out of system pass. It's set, He's going out to Kwame. There's nobody else he's going to go to. He's well inside the net. Why are they giving him that much cross-court action? He prefers the cross-court swing. It's where he's most comfortable. So they need to make some adjustments here. So they'll be just looking to try and reset, more to break up the momentum than anything else, to try and stop this gap from expanding beyond the current 5-point lead that Malory have. But it's a great start for Malory Eagles so far, despite the service errors. So we'll see if Rebels can turn it around after that timeout. So we're just going to see Fullerton's going to serve. Float serve this time. Great pass by Shatterman. Out to Pascal. Bit of a paintbrush touch there, but then Smart again from Martinez, going straight back to his middle. This time it's Logan Clark putting that ball away. They've been very efficient, and I know, Michael, you just mentioned a few moments ago about the efficiency of the two middles for Eagles. I think if they can keep them involved, it will cause trouble for Rebels. Great pass from Yanu. And Hunter's got a touch on it, but not quite up enough to help his teammates.
I think important for Essex just to stem that tide, and we'll see a change. Devon Pascal, as we often see, coming out. Ben Osborne, the specialist serving sub for the Essex Rebels. And Osborne, 80% on the year. 6 aces. What can he do? His team need a service run. Bund and Kwame nearly getting each other's way. Kwame gets it back, but gets denied by Cam Kern.
Massive block from the setter there. You know, Cam Kern's quite tall for a setter, and he takes advantage of every inch he has out there.
So Osborne again, lovely high ball toss. This time, not quite on the net enough to knocks the elastic on the net a little bit loose. Line judge straight over to affect it, and Malory really solid in set one. Not anything special, Jess, but they've just ground out points, low error count outside of the serve errors, and I think to close it out, more of the same is needed, because we know this Essex Rebels team have ways to come back. Kwame misses the baseline. Second serve error for Ben.
Yeah, he'll be a bit disappointed with that. 2 service errors in a row for him. At a time you mentioned they don't have a lot of high service pressure and are not scoring a lot of aces, so the serves need to be in.
As Kern goes float serve, Hunter with a pickup. He was way deep. Cam Kern doesn't go there. And Bun from the backcourt. That's outrageous, Jess. We need to see that one again.
What a swing from Bund here. So again, this out of system play. He's got an open net. Everybody's moving like it's a free ball. And Chatterman has no chance of getting all the way across the
It's
back
interesting
court.
because Kern read the free ball, so he sprints to the net as the setter. And Bun just goes straight at that space.
It's exactly where you want your players to be aiming at. Because even if your backcourt outside does get to that ball, it's likely to not be the best pass.
Ianu to a needs, fends it. Jefferson, Fullerton with a touch. Kwame sets up Bun, but Bun can't get over the top of it. Bun a little bit aggressive on that one, probably feeling the confidence, and makes Malory's just second swing error of the set.
Looking like he wanted to go back for that deep corner again. Going a little too hard this time, but you can see the idea. Starting to get warm here in the National Volleyball Center, so we'll start to see the ball move a bit more.
Kern off the net take, well played by Malory. Fullerton beats Ianu on the one-on-one down the line. See lefty make that dig so often, Jess, but Nathan Fullerton beats him away to the right.
Yeah, you can see that Jefferson ends up being the outside-most blocker on that particular play, which means that Fullerton almost has a completely free net to swing at. So Yanu does well to get a touch on it, but would be hard-pressed to make a good dig on that.
Martinez just clears the tape. Jacob Kern to his brother Fraser, who's being quiet, hits the head of Dolden Bund. And Rebels trying to stay alive, Jess, but they need to make a run now. As Devon Pascal, the big blocking threat, comes into the front row.
Yeah, they've had some success with Pascal. Interesting to see that Rebels haven't really gotten their middles running too much. So if they can make that change to their offense.
Bun hangs in the air, beats Kern on the cross court. And Jesse, I think it's interesting that Malory are getting balls that Rebels can get to, but this dig and this first touch off the Malory swings hasn't quite come through. And the low number of digs in the in the final four against Giants as well. Maybe a little bit of a weakness has appeared for Essex, that back row defense isn't quite as efficient as we maybe thought, as Bund nearly hits the net tape, but shut him in. Into the block, finds the point. But it's interesting that you can see that Malory defense, they're getting balls, they're recycling possession where Rebels haven't quite managed to, as you see that ball blow out of bounds.
Yeah, you can see Shuttleman seeing the high hands in front of him, knowing exactly where he wants that ball to get to.
Great set, back set, but Martinez going to be called for the double touch. Gonna open up Fullerton, and Jefferson Williams going to talk it over as Carol Gordon hits the buzzer. Malory with 2 timeouts, not a bad time to use one. They still lead 22-19.
Yeah, they just want to stem the flow here. Rebels looked like they were starting to get into rhythm, so if they can break that up just a little bit, keep themselves firmly in the driving seat in this first set. So,
and we talked about the low error count. A couple of errors in the space of 4 or 5 points for Malory. Just need to cut that out.
Yeah, previous to this, they had been very low error, and it was mostly just those service errors, but now seeing a couple of other issues creep in, although that one pass for Martinez was quite tight for him to get 2 solid hands to.
I think the interesting thing, just looking at the stats quickly, Jess, in terms of kills, Malory spread it out. Cohen 2, Clark 2, Kwame 2, Bund 3, Fullerton 4. So Malory being really able to diversify the offense early, and that's such a key against his Rebels front line of keeping them guessing where the ball's going. I need a good pass to start as Fraser gives away a big point at a big time. Ewan Fraser misses the baseline, the 5th service error for the Rebels. No aces in set number 1 for either team either.
Yeah, Coach Jefferson Williams, I'm sure, will be counting that point onto his own stat sheet off of the timeout.
Of course, coaches love points. And 1 error returned to another. Yeah, 5th serve error.
Sorry.
Shut him into the net, back-to-back service errors for the Rebels. And this is the frustration. You can see Alex Porter turn around and talk to his bench. He's frustrated by that one.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say there were 5 back-to-back service errors, so one team has a service error than the other. So clearly we are a bit of monkey-see, monkey-do tonight.
Hearn has to wait, goes for the tip, gets brilliant piece of, I would say hitting, but really it's really a brilliant piece of jumping. The ability to hang in the air for so long and then just a little tip late.
Yeah, you can see him. He's falling back to the ground as he tips that ball. Really smart play. Fullerton looked like he could have been there. He just needed to extend his arm.
As Bund from the pipe off the top of the net allows Shutman to get to it. Kern misses on the cross court. Malory Eagles, set number 1, 25-21. Jess, not the cleanest at times. Malory did a really good job and deserved really led from start to finish.
Yeah, they did lead from start to finish. I think, you mentioned just a moment ago about the spread of the offense, and that has been such a key for them because we've seen Essex Rebels at the moment are struggling in defense. Part of that struggle has to do with the fact that the blockers can't close the block because of the variations within the Eagles offense. However, the offense isn't as fast as we've seen Eagles run it in the past, so there's still room for improvement there. If Essex can get themselves into the right defensive positions, they should be able to get themselves well into the match in set number 2.
Well, we've had some food arrive, Jess. I'm going to give you a quick break and we'll bring in the Chief Exec of Volleyball England, Charlie Ford, to the commentary booth. As he just puts on the headset. Charlie, obviously we'll start with the day in general in the cup finals, obviously back in Kettering, but how pleased are you to get it back, and what a good day of volleyball we've had?
Absolutely, Michael. Look, before we even start talking about that, let's talk about how sharply dressed you are right now, and the fantastic job that you, Jess, and everybody else is doing on the con. So just great for that first and foremost. But yeah, look, great to be back here. Great to have the cup finals and see all obviously the great volleyball that's on display.
Indeed, and Charlie, obviously the big news coming out of volleyballing about a month ago now. You announced it, the kit change, and you're one of the few repping the new gear. I know more's on the way, but obviously cookery. Just talk about what went into that deal and kind of your vision for the partnership.
Yeah. So it's something that we've been in conversation with for some time. We knew that we're coming to the end of our current partnership, and yeah, look, Kukri are a well-established brand. They're working with a number of sports in the country, and the part that we were really interested in is to centralise all of the different apparel lines that we've got, because before it was a little bit separate. So the officials were kind of wearing one brand, the teams were wearing another, and yeah, so we've got an opportunity now. It's very loud in here, isn't it?
Well, we've got a dance battle.
Oh. Yeah,
As Ari Sierra, the Malory Levo, tries to leave the gym because she'd come out to do it. I think she's seen it and given up.
But yeah, so yeah, we're really super keen to get the new apparel lines on board. We're going to start with some merchandise that we're going to launch at the Interregionals in a few weeks' time. Really excited to show these designs to the volleyball community, to see whether there's something that they're going to get really excited about. And then yeah, the officials kit, the national teams, the staff, etc., will all come online a little bit later on in the year.
And just how important is it for you just to kind of unify that whole thing, obviously national teams, referees, and just kind of to grow the professionalism of what you're trying to do?
Yeah. So as most people will know, we have a vision statement of Volleyball England that's one word: it's belonging, and having apparel lines that are.
Kwame way off of balance there.
Well, it was an overset.
Yeah.
Missed it.
Oh no, that was on the line.
Caught it.
Yep. Great swing from Fraser there. Really sharp angle.
I believe we are back. I'll just wait to get official confirmation, but hopefully you can hear us. Apologies, the streaming software decided to crash. We'll bring you up to date in a minute as Fullerton wins that point for Malory.
Smart swing from Fullerton there, going off of the outside arm of Shatterman, knowing that if it's off the arm, can't direct anything out of that.
I do believe indeed we are back, so apologies for the temporary loss of coverage. We are Malory 5, Essex 4. After this point, Jess will bring you up to speed with what you missed at home. As Pascal down the middle finds the kill. And Jess, we had a couple of huge points while we were off at air.
Yes, I'm really sad that it went off when it did, because there were some really crazy bits. We saw a huge swing from Dalton Bund through a gap between Cam Kern and Thomas Jefferson, and then we saw an incredible dig out of the net from Shatterman, setting up a huge pipe swing from Jacob Kern.
Indeed, as Ewan Fraser gets the first ace of the day, beats Bund away to his left, just a little touch. I think that ball may have been going out. We appreciate all your patience in the chat as Fraser goes for another one. That ball nearly joined us in the commentary booth, Jess.
I was ready to pass it. It was going to be a dime pass straight back to the center. It would have been fine.
Ewan Fraser, only 8 aces on the season, going into the final 4. Not as we know he's got a big serve, but hasn't quite found the success. But 2 big ones when the Rebels needed it most, as they don't want to fall 2-0 down. As Martinez, a tremendous back set, and Fullerton puts a hole in the floor.
I mean, nobody can do anything about that particular swing from Nathan Fullerton. Fullerton and Shatterman one-on-one. Fullerton's got way too much court to go at, and does indeed try to put a hole in the floor.
And he literally has put a hole in the floor this season. As Pascal, good touch by Clark on the middle. Malory read that well. Fullerton's going to go aggressive, and Pascal gets a touch, blocks it out of bounds. Malory being really aggressive, but for those of you that may have missed it, Malory did a big weekend down in Cobham the 9th of March, and Nathan Fullerton literally put a hole in the floor when he jumped to take off. The floor couldn't be fixed, obviously, it's a hole in the floor, as Kwame loses the joust to Cam Kern and had to go from a show court setup to a cross court setup. I don't know what happened to the floor. I haven't actually asked Malory chairman Nathan French, who was with me at the time, what actually happened to the floor. But yeah, that was definitely a moment of the season.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that Nathan Fullerton is a giant of a man, and you know, if we can just touch for a moment on that point just a couple of points ago where there was some confusion between him and Bund, and then Fullerton somehow getting a block-out kill out of that.
As Pascal and Kern combined to deny Kwame the ball going. Oh, sorry, Ben Kwame, when it got it down and under, it looked like from my angle it went over the net, but instead went straight down vertical. So Kwame with the swing kill, and we are tied 8 points apiece. Set number 2 of the Men's National Cup final. Jacob Kern goes to the tip. Fullerton with a pancake pickup, and they're eventually going to give the point to Essex, but through a double touch.
Oh, what a letdown off of that beautiful pancake from Fullerton. It's a big guy to get all the way down on that floor, but it was a magical up.
With Malory Essex with a slender 9-8 leads.
Yeah. Sorry, we needed towel reinforcements there. As I mentioned, it is quite warm here at the National Volleyball Center.
As Pascal Kwame overpassed by Kwame. Back set Fraser finds Kwame in position 6. Bund gets a hand. Jefferson shut him in. Can't quite get there.
That was an interesting point. A little bit of confusion between Clark and Martinez there meant that Bund was one-on-one.
As Clark, Kern to Kern, and Kwame can't quite make the dig.
Great swing here.
As Jacob Kern just starting to ever so slightly warm up.
Going over the top of Martinez there.
And I think it's the rotation. I think Essex would prefer if they can get Kern in the front court against the smaller Martinez, less blocking. It looks like there is a mini injury to Malory. Not quite sure what's going on, but we've noticed the physio go over to the Malory bench as Bund beats Fraser down the line. Hopefully everything's okay for the Eagles. We'll keep an eye on that one.
Interesting to see that Essex are really struggling to set their blocks up, because that set plenty of time to get in front of Bund, but Ewan Fraser's just not right in the right position.
But also, if he was going to take away cross-court, Cohn has to protect line in the backcourt, and he didn't. As Jefferson beats Hunter. Thomas Jefferson, second kill of the game.
Yeah, again, we've seen Eagles have done a good job of getting their middles involved in the match so far. Rebels haven't done quite so much as that. Would be good to see a little bit more variation in the offense.
Bund, Martinez end up being a 3-point pass. Cohen goes for the tip, and they're going to call the point for the Eagles. Net touch, I think, on Thomas Jefferson, but that was a perfect pass by Dalton Bund.
Yeah, that was so good, and the release from Martinez straight into the hand of Cohen, and then Cohen being quite smart with where he placed that ball just to throw off the Rebels' defense.
Bund goes cross-court. Jefferson helps out in serve receive. Fraser into the block of Kwame and Cohen. Shut him in. That's a free ball for the Eagles on the overset. Martinez back set. Fullerton blocked by Shutterman, and a huge reaction by Thomas Shutterman.
As well there should be, because that is a massive block. Huge size differential between those two players. Oh, that's a great pass. What incredible coverage from Hunter there. Smart from Kwame to get that ball down despite a rather impressively sized block up in front of him. Much better block formation that time between Fraser and Pascal.
As Bund able to recycle. And Kwame again playing for the touch. Ben Kwame really mixing up the shots.
I'm going to give that to Kwame as a kill in my own personal stats, but I'm pretty sure that Pascal touched the net there.
I mean, if the ball's going dead, reward the hitter, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. They're commentator stats, they're not official, it's fine. I can do what I want.
Cam Kern finds Pascal's blitz. Clark and Fullerton. Jefferson Williams looks frustrated, but Carol Gordon happy with the back-end defense by Bund on the rotation, trying to cut away the angle that was given.
Yeah, we've got a bit of FOMO going on in the YouTube comments. So sorry guys that you guys missed out, but it's certainly an enjoyable match to watch. as Fraser puts one into the net. He's had a few service errors tonight as well.
As Fullerton into the net.
So we saw this 5 times in set number 1, where one team had a service error and the other team followed that up with a service error of their own. So interesting trading of points here.
Yeah, first service error of this set for the Eagles. Thomas Schutterman, 70% success rate, potential for another one. He goes float. Martinez has to play it as that trickled off the top of the net. Fullerton against the double, and they're going to call him in the front court. Just stepped on the line, Nathan Fullerton. Maybe needed a shoe size 1 or 2 sizes smaller.
Yeah, need to have a really good block step to keep you from stepping on that 3-meter line. A lot of times your backcourt attackers are relying very much on the position of the set. So the fact that came off of Bund rather than Martinez might have meant that it was a little bit too far forward.
Schutterman, this time no net tape. Bund pulls Martinez to the 3-meter line, and Kwame denied by Cam Kern. Jefferson Williams, Carroll Gordon, shan it up. Going to use a timeout. 3 in a row for the Rebels. Malory trailing 16-14 in set number 2. And this is much better by the Rebels.
Yes, much better performance from them. They're starting to get their block in place. You know, we mentioned it even just a few points ago, but their block is now starting to close up. We have seen their defense move around and adjust to what Malory are putting out there tonight. Kwame in particular, Rebels have a good block height to try and shut him down. You just have to make sure against a smaller attacker like that you're putting your arms well over the net with a very strong press. And you can see Rebels have started to adjust. And as well, you know, a couple points ago getting Pascal involved, he had a kill, so if they can keep getting their middles involved, that'll make a difference for them rather than just relying on Jacob Kern as the set goes on.
Indeed. We saw the Malory time at the end of set 1 work quite well just to recompose. Only a 2-point lead mid-set for the Rebels, but you kind of feel like from here it's a must-win set for Rebels. It's going to be, we've seen them come back in the final, not quite closing out the rest. We know they're talented, but it's going to be tough to win 3 straight against this Malory team who they've not beaten in the Super League all season. As a perfect execution, 3-point pass, great set. Logan Clark, no mistake.
Exactly what Coach Jefferson Williams would have wanted out of that timeout. Perfect pass, put it to the middle. Both middles have been firing quite well tonight.
Kwame finds some success on the serve. Going to make it difficult, and they're going to call Cam Kern for a double touch on the set. Not many arguments from Kern, and all of a sudden Malory back level, 16 apiece.
Yeah, quite a few double touch calls already. I think that was the 3rd one, which feels quite high volume midway through set number 2.
Kwame, Ianu, going to be a tight angle for Kern, and he beats Dan Hunter. Again, that matchup that Essex have got with Martinez in the front row, trying to block Kern. Not an ideal situation, as Ben Osborne going to replace Pascal as a serving sub again.
Yeah. Again, you know, just Jacob Kern able to hit over the top of Martinez and still get that really steep cross-court angle. You can see Hunter set up so that he's outside the block. Nearly got that one up, despite the fact that it was inside where he expected the block to be covering, though.
Swear that Essex drum's grown in size since the start of the game. As Osborne goes, top spin. Clark squeezes it through the block. Big point, Malory captain. Logan Clark stepping up massively at the back end of this set. And he'll go back to serve. 17 apiece, set number 2.
2 of the last 3 Eagles points coming from those middle attacks of Clark.
Ianu, 3-point pass. Jefferson into the block. Contact with the net. And it was Dylan Cohen. Jefferson Williams. Correction, yes. Was reversed. Jacob Kern going to go to the net. I mean, it felt like an Essex net touch.
It did. It looked like somebody caught the net in an upward motion because
Alex Porter just getting an explanation from Martin Shakespeare. Obviously, our referees with headsets, so able to talk and listen into conversations, two-way communication. Alex Porter doesn't look too happy. But point Malory, good luck scoring that one. We assume it was Jefferson with the net touch, but we've got no idea.
I think it was Jefferson.
So Logan Clark stays on serve. Overpass, Cohen, great job by Cam Kern. And that ball's gonna hit the outside of the line. That killed by the lip. Believe that's a libero kill.
It is a libero kill. Love it when that happens. It's not usually on purpose.
Why? Is that because you're a libero?
Yeah. I've had a couple of kills. It's always fun when it's off of just a random touch, but that was such great coverage on that overpass by Yanu.
Cam Kern did a great job as well, reading it and making it difficult. Kwame from the pipe finds Ianu, and
Jefferson in the net again.
Jefferson again trying to be aggressive on that pipe attack.
He looks very confused as to about why he's getting called for that net touch, but
Martinez going to try and go cross court, a little bit too close to Ianu. They're trying to jam Jacob Kern up as Bund, Cohen, neither of them can get one touch kill. Jefferson Williams, a hands in the air, thought he'd won the point. They get it off the block of Dylan Cohen.
massive block from Cohen there. Some really good heads-up play from him in the lead up to that block, but taking full advantage of the fact that the Essex defense had pulled so tight into the front part of the court.
Indeed, good timeout by Alex Porter. Had 2 left to go. And we'll have a look inside the Rebels huddle. And obviously they've got experience, Essex. They've been down in sets before. It's only 2 points late, but I think it's really important right now to just try and find momentum. Like, it feels like late in the set, the ball's going to Kern again. Can you get a swing for Fraser? Can you get a swing for Shutman right now?
Yeah, they have definitely stepped up their defense. They've made some really great touches that they wouldn't have been able to make in that first set. So it is good to see them tweaking what they're doing, adapting to what Malory are doing tonight in particular, because every time you play an opponent, they will make some sort of adjustment. So they just need to keep pressing on with that.
Martinez into the net, but you could see the idea. Trying to be aggressive. The call clearly came from Jefferson Williams. He was trying to go cross court to position 1/2, make it difficult for Cam Kern to get to the net. So, big moment for the Rebels. Jacob Kern back to serve. Need to get ball in play here. And that's way over the baseline.
And yet again, we see this repeating situation where there's one service error and the other team follows it up with another service error. There's been 7 of those.
So,
only 7. But that does make 14 service errors of just those runs.
shut him in. Ianu well over the baseline. Going to be a tough set. Well covered Ianu with a terrific pickup from well beyond the baseline. And then rewarded with Shutterman going off hands. Big moment for the Rebels. That had been a 3-point Malory lead. That might have been set over.
Yeah, it might have been, but that just shows the incredible athleticism that Shutterman's putting out there. He's had no approach for that final swing. Knew he was at a disadvantage. The Eagles had a really solid block up in front of him, so he says, fine, I'll use the outside hand of the block in front of me.
Hunter, not seen a lot of serve-receive opportunities in set 2. Gets a good one there. Kern can't make the dig down the line. Again, going over the top of Ewan Fraser down the line. It seems to be a tactic Malory are employing, trying to go line on Fraser's block.
Yep. It's a smart bit of play. They had been shutting down Kwame on that line shot, but they seem to have let it back open again.
So, Dylan Cohen back to serve for Malory. Jacob Kern pulls his brother out to 4 meters, shut him in. Into the block of Nathan Fullerton. Malory haven't had many blocks today, but that's a huge one.
That is 100% a monster block from Nathan Fullerton. Haven't seen a lot of that tonight. There's been 7 blocks so far in the whole of the match. That's Fullerton's first.
Cohen goes big this time. Kern, great pass to his brother. And there's Ewan Fraser on the opposite swing. Finds the gap in the back row.
He hasn't seen a lot of sets tonight, Ewan Fraser, but the ones that he has seen, he's done a good job of making smart plays with them. He had plenty of space between the block that time.
Well, Ewan Fraser has a couple of aces, the only aces of the game. Can't get one there, but it's not a great pass. Fullerton goes tip, recycled. He's going to have to go cross court. Nathan Fullerton, are you serious?
Oh, what in the world? Hunter gets that ball and somehow, again with no approach, we see Fullerton come in with the craziest of cross-court angles. We've just had a substitution in front.
It's officially a setter sub, but Malory used this as a blocker as well. Sona Yashar, number 7, into the game. Bit more height on the block as Kern squeezes it through. Hunter with a touch. Kwame buns, misses the antenna. But great hustle by Malory, and Martinez back in for offensive setting purposes. But a huge pickup by Malory nearly. That would have been tremendous, Jess.
Yeah, it was just outside the antenna. As a reminder for those of you that don't know, if any part of the ball touches what would be an imaginary line from that antenna all the way up to the ceiling, it is automatically out and it has to cross the net completely between those 2 posts. And Shatterman had been trying to go for a shorter serve in his last service run with decent...
Nearly ripped his jersey.
It's
And Malory win it 25-22, and they are 25 points, 1 set away from an 18th National Cup title as we welcome into the box part of our commentary team for the weekend, but we've not got him up for commentary. Delighted to have Luke Wiltshire join us.
Hello, Luke.
Hello.
Pleasure to be speaking to you on this occasion. Super excited to hear about your award.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to tell us all about that?
Yeah, very surprised. I won Volleyball England's Coach of the Year award. So, really honoured, really privileged to pick up that award. I know some great coaches have won it previously, so I'm very honoured to be recognised. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely good to see your contributions to volleyball recognized. I know you do a lot of coaching. You've obviously started that Volleyball Guy podcast, which has seen some really great success. I know you're partnering with Volleyball England at the moment. So, any bits of information or exciting news from your club this season? Because you guys have had a pretty good season, haven't you?
Yeah. So, while I've got the opportunity, I'll shout out my club and Southampton Volleyball Club, and especially the men's team that I get to coach. We've took over coaching a couple of seasons ago. We were in Division 3, won Division 3 quite easily, but won it well. First year in Division 2 this year, and managed to get promoted again. So we play Div 1 volleyball next season, and we get to play the likes of Bologna and Essex Blades, who get relegated from Super League this year. So no, I'm really looking forward to it. I've got a great bunch of guys down at Southampton Volleyball Club. A very, very experienced captain in Tom Robinson, who is a setter and just generally a really good guy. It's a really exciting time. I'm loving being part of this sport.
No, that's fantastic. So we're looking forward to having you on comms tomorrow.
Yep, looking forward to it.
So I know you're definitely looking forward to that. It'll be great to have you again. We're just about getting ready to start set number 3.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hand it back over to Michael Hansen-Morrison, but congratulations
Still
again.
think it's got 5 sets written all over it.
It really could, honestly. It could still go either way.
I just think, Essex's offense is very one-dimensional at the moment, and blocking, they just look a little bit slow for me, but you get a much better view up here than me, so I'll hand you back to Michael.
Right, thank you very much. That was Luke Wiltshire, winner of the Universal Services Coach of the Year Award for Adults. So again, massive congratulations to him. If you want to hear more from him, he will be on comms tomorrow as part of our wider commentary team.
Indeed. Early morning start for Luke tomorrow as he has the rematch of the under-16s final and the under-15s, Urmston Grammar and Richmond for that one. And Jess, obviously, great to hear from Luke, obviously with the podcast as well, that volleyball guy. And I'm sure we'll get a finals wrap-up from Luke as well. But Essex Rebels, no pressure now, right? 2-0 down in the final, got nothing to lose.
Okay, I don't know if you heard Luke say it, but he said this still has 5 sets written all over it. And I kind of agree with him. It could genuinely go all the way to 5, but...
Am I allowed to move this camera to zoom in on what I've just seen in Jaden Scott's hand? Because she has a cup final at 1 o'clock tomorrow, and I'm pretty sure that may not be a great drink of choice. We'll talk about that in a second as Cam Cohen off the net tape. Cohen, Ianu, Shadow Moon off the face. Logan Clark's had a big set, but I think Jaden Scott's drinking alcohol. That's a bold choice. I guess I'm going to out her on stream.
a little bit mean for the stream. However, is it the wrong choice, or do we think, let's just assume she's just drinking the one? Maybe she's holding it for a friend. Unlikely, but...
Yeah, I don't think you're getting away with that one. Sorry, Jaden. Good pull, Jess, but not quite. Cam Kern, big set for the Rebels into the chest of Logan Clark, who was on the serve. Triple block, Buns. Martinez on the free. Kwame from the pipe misses the line.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there for Kwame. You can see where he's going. He wants to try and tag that deep corner in 5. It's a really good idea. I'm just going to also point out, hard to hear over the headphones, but I think that's the second time there's been a genuine scream from the Essex Rebels bench. I'm not sure exactly what's happening.
We talked about this in the final at London Giants, that the bench was flat, the crowd was flat as that ball into the ceiling by Kwame. And it takes us some doing to hit the ceiling up here. Not as high as Crystal Palace, we must say.
No.
But impressive nonetheless. But yeah, it was flat. But then the Essex Rebels crowd started to really fire up some life. A couple of big points, and then some of the men's bench were involved. So you kind of need the women's team here to really help step up and try and will this team into force, at least set number 4. As again, Malory having success through the middle. Cohen this time with the kill.
Yeah, both middles putting down such a good ball. It's interesting to see they're tending to go towards 5, so they've got quite an open body as they're coming at the ball, and they're not turning it anywhere. They're not doing anything special with it. They're just putting the ball away, and Rebels they're just not quite in the right defensive position to deal with that. That was an interesting situation where a ball rolled in front of the server. The referee didn't call for a replay, and then Malory Eagles take the point anyway. It's a great pass there from Jacob Kern.
As Fraser pins the back corner, not even that close to the line. Beautiful piece of hitting by Ewan Fraser on the cross court. Fraser up to 7 points, second for Essex. 5 of them were kills as Jefferson finds the net, and I think his friend and long-standing teammate Thomas Shutman's head off the net.
Yeah.
At least the net takes a bit of the sting out of it, right?
It does, yeah. When a serve bounces out of the net, it's not usually too bad, except for the times when it bounces out of the net straight into your face. That's not the best.
Bond just about clears the tape. Jacob Kern to a knee, shut him into the block. That went over, and Malory nearly keep it alive, but that's more than 3 touches. But again, you can see the
really smart heads-up play there from Pascal to see that ball has come over the net. Not reach over the net, just put it down. Good cover from Eagles. A little bit unfortunate that they weren't able to keep that one in play.
As Since Ben Osborne walks towards the end of the Essex bench, but it's not for a sub, it's to go find his water bottle. As Martinez keeps it alive, but Cohen can't connect. Martinez was priority was keeping the ball in play rather than the set, and Cohen couldn't quite do a lot with it.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there. The first real error from one of the Eagles' middles.
Kwame gets crossed up. Martinez is going to get there. Huge rundown by the Malory setter. He was on the right side of the court, nearly ended up in his bench. Pascal missed connection on the middle set with Kern. Kwame goes to Cam Kern. Jacob Kern, lefty Ianu flat-footed on the back row. Cam Curran looked frustrated, but Joel Martinez really earns that point.
He really does. That was a massive chase down. And then on that last set where he's gone out to Kwame, you could see that Pascal was stuck with Clark because they have been so, it would have been Cohen up front. He was stuck with the middle because they've been so prolific there. He couldn't release to go out for Kwame.
Cohen, another big serve, well played by Shudderman. He'll get it back, he'll go tip. Martinez, pancake save. Malory going to keep this alive, but ball quite shallow for Ianu. Back set, Fraser has to wait on it. Not the perfect free ball setup, but Malory overpass. Ianu with the defensive set. Another tip from Martinez, out of system Malory. Bun, back set, Kwame into the block. Huge momentum point for the Rebels. If Malory had stolen that, you would have started to go, is it their day? But Essex able to stay with it.
Yeah, really smart read from Cam Curran on exactly where Kwame was going to swing on that one. You could see his arms were open. Had Kwame swung between them, he would have probably gotten a kill. But genuinely good read block from Cam Curran.
Shudderman. That ball was going to land on the line. Kwame plays it, Fullerton beats the double block.
Such a great swing from Fullerton there. Pascal doesn't quite close his body all the way to the net. Fullerton takes full advantage, pardon the pun. Puts it down the inside of Pascal's block.
Fullerton. Kern's going to have to come all the way to the back court to pick it up. Kern into the block, Bunn with the pickup. That's going to be a live ball. Martinez plays it legally. 3-ball for the Rebels. Kern tip. Logan Clark, Martinez with the pickup. Another 3-ball. Hunter just about clears the net. This would be a steal for Malory. Block touch. They're going to have a chance. Martinez in system. Kwame waits for it into the block. Martinez 3-point line. Fullerton back row rolls it over to Kern. Out of system though for the Rebels. Jacob Kern, Dan Hunter, net touch, Malory, Logan Clark, ball into the roof, but yes, what a point of volleyball.
I mean, mega rally. Some really great touches, amazing scramble play from the Eagles on that one. And you're right, had they won that point, it definitely would have been a steal. They had a couple of touches that they had no right to be making. They're just asking the second referee, I think, to check their rotation to make sure that they're stood in the right positions.
Rotation 4. Rebels lead 7-6. Set number 3, trailing 2 sets to none as Pascal, the ball just ever widening on the sideline, goes out of bounds.
Yeah, you can see them aiming for those sidelines. I think the volume of service errors on the Rebels side with the relative lack of aces is kind of hurting them at the minute. They've had 13 service errors with 3 aces.
I think it's the aces that are probably the surprising thing, as the Essex bench, it's legal, but is it the most sportsmanlike thing to do to scream just as about the server's about to make contact? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit cheeky that. You might get it from the crowd. Can't really police the crowd in that way, but you can police the bench in that way.
That isn't going to quite be an ace, but 3-ball for the Rebels. They force a few in this set from Malory. It's going to go to Jacob Kern, finds the kill.
It's a great swing from Jacob Kern. Again, taking advantage of the height differential between him and Martinez. This is that rotation that they're really enjoying at the minute. You could see Martinez has made an adjustment to his block. He got a much better hand on that ball, but it just went a little too long for Kwame to chase it down.
Kern float serve. The net cord helped Malory. Gave Dalton Bunn time to get there. He's going to just check the floor's dry enough to jump, but he doesn't need to as Kern gets it on the other side. Joust the net, put into the backcourt. Should have been able to get there. Lovely back set for Fraser. He squeezes it through the block. Lovely piece of defense by Thomas Shullerman for the Rebels, and that's what they need.
Yep, that is exactly what they need. It's what they've been lacking so far in this match. So massive from them. We're going to have a timeout for the Eagles here. Coach Thomas Jefferson will just be wanting to talk to his guys, try to get them back into the rhythm of things. So they've just given away a 3-point lead. So a couple of big kills off of the back of a couple of service errors, and one error from Logan Clark as well for the Malory Eagles men.
We see quite a few of the Malory women in the crowd. Obviously, club chairman as well, Toby French, talking to Sophie Shishko as head of the the final for the Women's National Cup tomorrow. And Jess, that should be another thriller.
Yes, really looking forward to that, honestly. Matchup of the century is going to be an excellent day tomorrow.
Indeed, and obviously the Malory Eagles women's loss all season was to side out as Kern clips the net tape on the power hit, but Bund, more power, beats Kern down the line. But again, Malory going at the single block of Ewan Fraser, and when they do, they're going line.
Yes, exactly. I think Fraser, not sure exactly where he should be setting up when he's on that single block. So he's giving away a little too much blind, a little too much cross because he's so indecided on where he should be that he's not actually aligning himself correctly to the swinging arm of the attacker.
Clark floats serve, back set for Jacob Kern into the chest of Fullerton. No getting hold of that one. And again, Jacob Kern, such a big part of this Rebels team, up to 12 points on the day, just 11 kills, 4 errors and an ace for Jacob Kern, the only person in double-digit scoring, at least unofficially.
Unofficially indeed.
Kwame, good pass as Bunn misses the swing into the net, and Essex Rebels starting just to force errors by Malory. That's at least 4 on the set, plus the, so yeah, 5 of the Essex 12 points on Malory errors so far.
Yep, quite a few attacks into the net. That one, Bunn just trying to get a cross-court angle that didn't actually exist.
Kern, Dan Hunter, overpass, shut him in, wins the joust. Rare mistake by Dan Hunter, but well finished off by Thomas Shutterman. And we've seen Joel Martinez win some of those jousts.
Yeah, and you see this actually quite a lot, despite the fact that a setter tends to be undersized. Because they're so used to being an undersized player, they know that they have to wait and be the second person to touch that ball. They will usually win a joust like that, so well done.
Kwame, that ball doesn't touch anything, goes well into the stanchion, and Bunn wins the tip against... Oh no, he doesn't.
I think it's called that it's touched him on
the
way
way
out.
down.
Yeah.
Double touch. And suddenly Malory, Jefferson Williams going to use a timeout, and Essex Rebels in cruise control right now, set number 3, and again it's all come off service pressure.
It really has. I mean, service pressure is a big piece of this because they're slowing down the offense of the Eagles, but what they're also struggling with at the minute is the fact that Essex have tweaked the way that they're blocking. They're getting much higher volume of block touches, even if they're not getting a higher volume of blocks, and that is making the difference and allowing their defense to get set up in the correct position. We're still seeing that matchup not quite working in favor of the Rebels between Fraser and Bunn, which we mentioned just a couple of points ago. But outside of that one matchup, things are looking a lot more positive for the Rebels.
But the Rebels fans have woken up as well. The women's team, I can see Alex Porter's family as well on the second row courtside. Drums and horns in full go. Kaftoli leading the parade as Kern, not quite an ace, but in fact that's a ridiculous set by Martinez to find Cohen. How does he pull that off?
I mean, that has to be this set of the night. Like, far and away, absolutely monster set. Chasing that ball down past the referee stand, somehow getting it up and tight enough to the net without crossing back inside the antenna for Cohen to put that ball away. Smart block out swing.
Kern, tight set. They're going to call Bund over the net.
Interesting. I'm sure if we had Hawkeye, we would
Well,
be
we have a
watching that
side
again.
camera, just neither of us were looking at it.
True. It would be really difficult to see though because the referee stood in our field of vision.
Yeah. Obviously, it's one of the easier calls for the referees, right over the net, as much as it is also a split call.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is one that they have at least got a good vantage point on, as Jefferson goes deep on the serve. Fullerton, who's been quiet, into the block of Pascal, and this set is just running away for Essex. This is kind of not quite how they came back against the London Giants. The third set was a bit closer, but you kind of feel the momentum shift. Malory have gone flat.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like Rebels have finally woken up. I'm not sure exactly what Fullerton was doing there because I can see the idea of trying to put in a roll shot, but he's rolled down towards the net rather than up and over the block. And then Jefferson gives him a little bit of pressure relief with that service error.
The the biggest deficit between these two teams this year was 17-25. That was a set Essex won to force a tiebreak in December. Not quite that stage yet, but Jacob Kern has to tip it over, was not able to jump on it as Cam Kern, big touch, going to be free ball given up by Ianu though. Really short, right on the 3 meter line, back set, Fullerton, solo, going to make no mistake.
Yep. And that was exactly what Yanni was trying to avoid. He was like, if I can put this ball on Fullerton's head, there's a good chance he'll be out of the offense. However, Fullerton saw what was happening, put up a nice high pass, gave himself time to get back, do a full approach, and put in an epic cross-court swing.
Bun, lovely short serve, right on the 3 meter line. Fraser hangs in the air. Hunter and Clark going to get in each other's way. Kwame off the block, doesn't quite get called for the lift. Good reactions by the Malory player. Kern from the back row finds the kill. Looked very close to the 3 meter line, Jacob Kern, but just about stayed behind it. You could see him suddenly realising, I think the feel of it, planted that left foot a little bit quicker.
Yeah. You'll see sometimes when they think that they're getting closer to that 3 meter line, their block foot, so the last foot that hits the floor before they take off, they'll turn it more inside, so it's like a side foot to the 3 meter line.
Martinez, inside ball for Fullerton, into the block of Shutterman and Pascal. Pascal's being quiet, but Jacob Kern is going from the back row in the pipe. Back-to-back kills.
Yes, back-to-back kills indeed, and I'm wondering if Cam Kern has read my mind because I was just about to tell you, look, they've introduced the pipe, which we haven't really seen tonight, but they were so effective with at the Final Fours.
It's interesting, it's pipe for a certain person in particular, as Fraser misses the serve on the right. He looked frustrated as he let it go. He's trying to willing it to get in, but always going one way, and that was wide.
Great pass. Shadowman tries to take the net down with him that time.
I think that's what we call a net touch.
I think that's what we call gone fishing. That was a big one.
So Dylan Cohen back, brings Logan Clark into the front court, and that's important for Malory because Logan Clark's just chipped in with a couple of big points in spots as captain. Showing pitch perfect pass. Pascal not quite timed up with his setter Cam Kern. Fullerton is denied though. I think Thomas Shutterman got it.
Great read block from Shadowman there. He set himself up well. He knew that Pascal was coming in to support, and he knew that Fullerton was going to be aiming at him as the smaller of that blocking pair, and held really firm with his arms. It's got to be hard to press against that ball.
Kwame. Perfect pass, but Pascal denies Logan Clark. We're just saying Devin Pascal's being quiet, but an assisted block followed by a full block, and that will do it for Joel Martinez. He'll take a break into the game. Malory's normally second setter, but third setter to get into the game. Brian Chong split with Martinez at the start of the year before Martinez really settled into the job, but got him into the nets. Chong 51% assist rate this year, 576 assists. I think I've got, that's about right in my notes probably. As Kern blocked, big touch. Fraser's going to have room to run it down. Going to be a free ball. Ianu. Clark tries to go early. Pascal, huge read on it. Kwame one-on-one, blocked by Cam Kern. Ball lands on the line. Jefferson Williams says that was in. And Essex Rebels block. It's a block party.
As we've got the Essex Rebels flag flying off in the corner just outside of the view of the camera. Wish we could show it to you guys, because definitely getting waved around down there.
Yeah, concrete stanchion in the way is what we're going to call it. Ben Osborne, third time we've seen him as a serving sub. Clark as the dummy. Kwame with the little roll scoop. Big pick up by the Rebels. They stay alive. Fullerton has to go. I don't even know what to call that. I know he was. But it was unconventional, and a net touch by Malory. And this set is falling apart. Rebels lead it 22-14.
Bit of a let-off for them. But yes, Rebels looking very much in their own rhythm now.
Off the net cord for the A's. Ben Osborne goes for a celebration. That's probably not going to keep the referee too happy. And it's not the cleanest of aces, but nonetheless, ace is an ace.
Sometimes the tape giveth, and sometimes the tape taketh away.
So Osborne, can he find another? No, he can nearly find the spectators in the front row behind the baseline.
So much excitement off of that ace in the previous point. All of that adrenaline put a little too much power behind that one.
However, still an 8-point lead for the Rebels. Kwame makes it 9.
Another one of those service errors following a service error. We're still having some issues with the antenna closest to the first referee. We saw it get knocked off during the warm-up, and...
Oh, you did? I was too busy. I wasn't paying attention to that.
I mean, I'm assuming you guys were talking, so that's fine. I've got a good view from up here, so...
This is true, as Kern misses the baseline on that one. Another feels like service error to service error. It is...
3 in a row there.
Rebels, this is crazy. I've just looked this up. Essex Rebels have 7 service errors in set number 3. Malory have 16 points.
Wow.
Kern into the block, wins the point, and Essex Rebels 25-16 take set number 3.
What a turnaround from Essex Rebels.
This team doesn't know what quit is, do they?
No, they don't. I mean, it was really tight up until about 6-7 points, and then suddenly Essex Rebels decided, okay, we're in the Cup Finals. Let's make it look like we genuinely want to win here and have come out strong. They've made some really good tweaks to their defensive positioning. The blocking is getting better. They're getting some containing block touches. They're getting some solid blocks, and they're doing a better job of mixing up their offense, which is making things much more difficult for Eagles. So I guess the question now is, will Eagles make any changes to their starting lineup for set number 4?
Well, this is the problem. The Malory men's team isn't as deep as the women's. Obviously, we saw the setter change, but they don't really have a lot of outside opposite options. They've got a blocking option in the middle, but with Josh Funda, but they haven't really got a lot of ways to change it up from a hitting unit.
Yeah, and to be fair, the 2 middles for Eagles are probably performing the most efficiently of all of the players out there on the court. Obviously, having 3 different setters to choose from means that you could change up your offensive options in that way, because each of your setters will make slightly different decisions in differing situations. They've each got their own strengths and weaknesses. So that might be an option for change, although I can see the 2 other setters warming up off to the side, which tells me that they're not going to be starting. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any changes to the starting lineup for this fourth set. Looks like Martinez is going to get back on the court, and I wouldn't be expecting any changes for the Essex Rebels after they came in with that much better performance in set 3.
As the Rebels flag makes a bit of an appearance, just checking how close he can get to the court. But as flags go, it's not a small one, Jess.
It looks like they're going to move the Volleyball England tunnel there so that he can wave the flag from that back corner. So Stan is just asking the crowd for people to cheer if they think that the Eagles are going to win. And now he's asking if those think that the Rebels will win. And now we've got the drum really going.
So Malory going with Joel Martinez back to set. That's the important kind of setting news. Jess, are we going 5?
I mean, if Rebels put in the same level of performance that they did in the last set, you mentioned that there were 7 service errors from the Rebels. Eagles finishing up with 16 points. Yeah, we very well could be.
Kern, that one stays hit by Kern, going at Logan Clark in position 5. And quick side out for the Rebels. Kill total, interestingly, 33 apiece through 3 sets. Errors 13-12 Malory. But Essex Rebels 9 more service errors, but 7 more blocks. So things are kind of balanced out a little bit across the board with the blowout set. As Martinez way off the 3-meter line. Fullerton has been really quiet. Jacob Kern definitely hasn't been, but this time Malory block able to do something. Bunn's going to have a tough swing. Goes cross court. Ianu on the read. Kern roll shot. Joust at the net. Comes back on the Rebel side. Back set. Fraser finds Fullerton on the cross court. Bund beats Ianu. Big point, Dalton Bunn, kill number 7 for him on the day.
Yeah, huge point for the Eagles there. Massive for Bund. Really smart swing as well. He had that smart swing on that tough out-of-system play before. Some great defense there from Nathan Fullerton. Again, seeing him get close to the floor.
I mean, Fullerton is not just probably the best oppo in the league for the offense, one of the best defenses as well, as Kwame gets beat. But it was interesting, just going into that set, Jess. Jacob Curtin had nearly as many points as anyone else on the court doubled. Nathan Fullerton has 9. Jacob Curtin had 16 going in, 15 going into the set. That first one was 16. Ewan Fraser 8, Devon Pascal 7. No one else on more than that before, as Kern beats Hunter for the ace. But really, Malory haven't got anyone going massively. It's just little chippy moments. Like, everyone's just contributing a little bit, and it's a real team effort. But right now, they've got to probably find someone that can get a hot hand.
Yes, they do. Interesting that Rebels have finally decided to turn on the service pressure to catch up with their 18 service errors that they've had so far.
Well, Jacob Kern's always going to get 1 or 2 a game. Let's be honest, Kwame can't do much with that one. Good set for Bunn, but Fullerton misses. 4-1 Rebels lead, and this has 5 written all over it early on. Can the Malory Eagles respond?
They need to figure out what they're going to do offensively, because Fullerton's not quite firing right now. Rebels have figured out a way to stop him, either by setting their block differently or moving their defense around. So Eagles just have to figure out a way to get around that.
As that one just misses the baseline, but that's a decent miss. That wasn't out by a lot by Kern.
No, it wasn't out by a lot. That serve had some pretty interesting whip on it. It's coming in almost like a baseball-style curveball and twisting as it made its way towards the floor.
Shot him into the hands.
Smart swing again. Again, it's just those little bits of adjustments that Rebels have been able to make. They're starting to swing now higher up on the hands of the Eagles block, making them work harder, trying to get wild block touches rather than letting them get contained. And they're swinging harder now as well. That doesn't help things as Bund shanks that pass, but somehow gets a decent pipe swing out of that.
Well, Dalton Bunn's had some crazy hits today. Kwame does well to avoid the net, plays for the touch. Cohen sets, Fullerton misses.
Oh, that's really disappointing because actually from Cohen, that was a nice set. I love the Japanese style. I'm going to swing at this ball. No, I'm not. Fullerton almost with a free net there. And I think Bund did quite well during that point not to get stepped on by Fullerton.
Yeah, I want to keep players healthy.
Yes.
Hunter, Martinez, high ball. Fullerton has to adjust. Goes kind of mid-roll, but overpassed by Jacob Kern. So Kwame shut him in. Does well to keep the ball legal. Bund misses. And Malory Eagles are falling apart, Jeff Smith.
Yep. Exactly at the wrong moment. I mean, Rebels with a 5-point lead already this early in set number 4, really setting us up to go to a 5th set. And we're just going to have an early timeout here from Jefferson Williams. No surprise there.
What can you do if you're Malory at this point? Obviously, really experienced coaching staff, Ian Legrand, Carol Gordon, Jefferson Williams. What do you think they're saying to try and just rejuvenate this team that looks really flat right now?
It does look really flat. I think they need to be telling their guys where there are open spaces on the Rebels court. You can see that Rebels have adjusted their defense, which I've mentioned a couple of times, but they've pulled quite far inside the court. So I actually think there's plenty of space around the edges. It's just, can Eagles get themselves into a position where they can hit those high looping balls to actually hit those spots and put Rebels off?
Well, Luke Wilshire wants to make sure everyone knows what he said, because I've just got a message from him down in the crowd saying, I said 5 sets.
He did say 5 sets.
He did, but he's just making sure we know that that's what happened.
I did kind of agree with him. It could easily have gone to 5 or not. We never knew.
Hunter, perfect pass. And Malory have done such a good job siding out off timeouts. It's the one thing they've done really well.
It is. And it was good as well to see them there. You know, we were just saying they need to figure out a way to change up their offense. What did they do? Change up their offense. Straight to the middle. They'd been letting that slide. They've been going to Fullerton a lot. He's had a couple of errors already in this set.
Cohen float serve into the net.
And that is exactly what they didn't need right now. They could have done with a couple of serves. You know, Cohen had some really good service runs in the previous sets, but a little shy this time. Oh, that's a beautiful pass from Kwame.
Fullerton, no hands. Nathan Fullerton really struggling to get going. 3 errors solo in this set.
Yep. 3 in this set does not bode well for Eagles. They need him to be firing because he is their top scorer.
Both teams lost heartbreaking 5th sets. Ianu with the one-handed dig, can't get it to control, but both teams lost 5-set thrillers in the semi-final.
Yeah, really intelligent
And
set there
final
from
at
Martinez. He saw that Pascal was sticking with Logan Clark, who had been beating him through the middle, and that gave Kwame an easy one-on-one.
As the tip beats Hunter and Fullerton, they nearly take each other out. Great hustle by Malory, but the off-speed from Essex really starting to come through as well. As Bund and Hunter nearly collide on the ace from Thomas Schutterman. Perfectly in the seam.
Now this is something that, and again this antenna is causing us some problems, this is something that Rebels have started to pick up on quite a lot more. They've been aiming it into those seams on the Malory side, really taking advantage of the fact that both Bund and Hunter are quite aggressive on service reception.
Kwame Martinez. Kwame gets it back into the block of Pascal. First touch by Hunter, but can't recover. And Jefferson Williams to the bench. He looks frustrated right now in this game. At what point do both teams just give Essex? I think you keep everyone on the court, right? You've got momentum. You don't want to let it go. But at what point do Malory just rest a couple of players? As Alex Porter is talking to the bench, maybe he is thinking about resting someone for set number 5.
Yeah, potentially. I think from an Eagles standpoint, if your players aren't firing right now, like I know you mentioned that they don't have a lot of depth at bench, but why not let Fullerton sit out for a few points? Let him reset his mind, which is really difficult to do when you're in the court, despite the fact that Shadowman just gave them a free point with that wild serve as well out of the back. So, you know, let players like Bund and Fullerton have a few points sat out because, you know, they're down 7 points already in this 4th set. It seems highly likely that we'll be going to a 5.
Kwame. Kern. The Kern into the block. Malory not being able to create many block touches that are effective. There's one from Clark. Earns the 3 ball. Great defense by the Rebels to keep it alive, but it's a big swing. But Bund gets rejected by Cam Kern. The Rebels bench erupts.
As well they should do, extending this lead even further. Essex Rebels putting on, I mean, this looks like a showcase match. It doesn't look like a competitive, this is a cup final, this particular set. And then Bund makes another error himself. Errors just piling up right now for Malory Eagles. They've already made 5 errors of 14. Sorry, 6 if you include 1 service error.
As Jefferson Williams probably going to use his second timeout. Kwame just trying to dry his hands.
Nice pass.
Clark squeezes it through the block.
And you could see Jefferson knew that that ball was going to the middle, committed to the middle, and then went up with some goalpost arms and left Clark some space in the middle, in between them, excuse me. So that's the second of the Malory middles to have a kill to bring themselves back to the service line and then follow that up with a service error. So those are the 2 service errors that Eagles have had in this set.
Hunter overpass, but Malory win it back. Jefferson can't find the kill. And Malory win the point.
That's a great swing there from Bund, taking advantage of the fact that Rebels weren't quite the right defensive position. Yanu doing a great job to even get a touch on that ball, though.
So, after the setting change for Malory,
this is Yasha's first serve
off the game, I believe, because the first time he was only a real blocking sub. As Ianu can't quite make the dig.
Much better couple of points from the Eagles here. Bund figuring out how to get himself back into the game. It doesn't have to be power all the time. It just needs to be smart and it needs to work. Move that Rebels defense around yet again. Yanu, again, I mean, we talked about the liberos before the match started, but he's made some crazy touches tonight.
And I think the other thing going to be fun is that service errors have kind of reduced from the Rebels. The service pressure is huge. And Malory, again, going to come up as a huge swing by Kern.
Yeah, the Kern brothers just taking advantage of the fact that they have a pretty good connection, having grown up together and played abroad and now here with the Rebels.
As we talk about lack of errors, there's one from Kern into the net.
To be fair, so they've had 3 service errors in this set, which is still a lot, considering that we're just past midway through as far as points go. However, it is fewer than they've had in the last 2 sets, so it's definitely an improvement.
Kern back set to Fraser, and Kwame can't squeeze down on the block. Solid contact, but again, Malory's blocking, really struggling to create a dent in this Essex offense.
It's really interesting because we're almost talking about Eagles now the way that we were talking about Rebels in the first 2 sets. The defense isn't in the right position. The block isn't able to close. They're really struggling right now.
Malory just 3 block kills as Fullerton is going to head to the bench, I assume, as Jefferson Williams looks at Jordan Dalrymple.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's for Fullerton. No, it's not. It's for Ben Kwame.
Okay, we did see this at the Final Fours. Dalrymple in for Kwame.
We did.
Yep. And he did come into great effect,
Yep.
actually, and had a couple of really good blocks.
Because I know
Smart
Malory
kills.
have looked at a rotation with Dalton Clark becoming the opposite. So maybe we see Josh Funda maybe to give Fullerton a breather. We'll see. Dalrymple, Shanaman right at the net. Long set over to Fraser into the block of Dalrymple. Instant impact off the bench.
Instant impact from Dalrymple. He had a smart swing there, and then followed it up with a great read block on Fraser.
As the Rebels women's team claim that one, they distracted Cohen on the serve with the shouts.
Yes, they did. So that's Cohen's second service error. He hasn't actually made a serve in this particular set. Really struggling right now.
Fraser, Bunn with a good pass. Dalrymple, loads of time, forces the overpass, or over dig, I suppose, technically from Ianu Fullerton. Finally wins a point. Nathan Fullerton on the scoreboard for the first time in set number 4. And
Yes, indeed.
he's going to come out the game.
Interesting.
Interesting. This is a serving sub.
However, which one of the 2 setters that are currently on court is going to set? Are they going to play this as though they've got a backcourt setter and a front court opposite?
We're about to find out what Jefferson Williams has got in his book of tricks. Burn on the tight set, shut him in, beats Hunter.
Great swing there from Shuttleman.
Well, there's no change.
Let's see how they set up for service reception, because I think that's going to tell us.
Well, the good news is Malory women run a 2-6. So I think Yasha is going to basically become an opposite.
It does look like that.
Unless Dalrymple's opposite and Yasha outside, but they're going to do
Dalrymple's passing, so he's going to be your front court outside.
side.
That's passing.
So
And a bit
Yasha's going to be the opposite, effectively, unless they run him as a middle blocker and Clark as an opposite. As Shutterman just misses.
That's very close. Very close. Such a smart serve, though. He's serving right where the setter's coming straight from deep position 1. It's going to be difficult for Dalrymple to pass if he does have to pass it. And, of course, Dalrymple hasn't been in the service reception so far in this match.
As Dalrymple, topspin serve, not enough on it. And cruising away in set number 5. As Ben Osborne back into the game. He'll go float serve halfway up the net. Error, service error number 22 for the Essex Rebels. Is backed up by a 6-0 ace count though. And I think Alex Porter would probably take that trade off. Malory, remember, last time they played in the Super League in March, Jefferson forces the scramble on the free ball. Gets it with the left-handed tip. But last time Malory and Essex went to 5 sets in March, Malory didn't have an ace in that game either, Jess.
No. Clearly service pressure is not their strong suit. Sorry, just really enjoyed that left-handed tip from Thomas Jefferson. That's such a smart heads-up play.
Thing of beauty. As Cam Kern pops and serve, and no good on the connection. There's your in fact, they've
Thomas
given
Jefferson, is
yeah.
admitting to the touch.
Oh, that's nice. But I suppose if you're going to do it up 10 points to get good karma. As I get a smile from one of our two guests we'll have joining us for an intermission chat between set 4 and set 5.
Really excited to hear about this.
Coming up with plans on the fly. We'll have some fun here at the National Cup Finals. Jefferson into the block of Cohen. Recycle ball, Ianu back set. Jacob Kern into the block, Ianu right position. Jefferson doesn't quite find the kill. Bund on the cross court.
Much better play from Eagles. More like what we were seeing in the first couple of sets. 2 really great block touches there from Cohen. That first one, I didn't actually think he was going to be there, and then suddenly he just popped up.
Cam Kern, lovely back set for Jacob Kern. Tight cross court, splits the 2 natural setters, and Rebels have 9 set points. We said it might go 5, Jess, in the pre-game. It looks like we're going to.
It's looking highly likely. I mean, 9 set points is quite a lot to go at.
Well, that won't be the one to do it. Jacob Kern over the baseline. Another service error. Malory get to 16 for the second straight set, but 16 might be all they get to. As Bun misses, and we are going set 5, Jess Smith.
Yes, we are really excited to see what happens here in this 5th set. So, and I think that brings up the
We're going to have some special guests join us. This is going to be fun. We're trying something different here.
Why not?
I'm going to get your headset off you, and we're going to bring in, we'll start with the person trying to get the reverse sweep. Up with us in the commentary booth, the Rebels opposite Alexis Diaz in Vontae. Alexis, 2 sets down. It wasn't looking good, but this team knows how to come back.
Absolutely. I definitely think after that second set loss, the captains and also Coach Porter as well brought everyone in and made a good call on changing the mentality as well as maybe changing strategy. It was a huge turn in terms of emotional energy, I feel like, as well. They came out maybe having more of a mentality, hey, we have nothing to lose, so we have to leave everything on the table now or never, and I think that's what they've done here.
And obviously, kind of feels deja vu. Last time the Rebels were in a final, it was chaos at Crystal Palace. We had drama all the way through. What is going to change in set 5? Why are your men's team going to become National Cup champions?
I think our men's team has the capability to be the national champion today because they're going to keep this same energy and make sure they're committing to what's working as well as adjusting to what Malory might be responding to as well. They have to be malleable and they have to be able to change with the game as it happens in real time. Well,
I'm going to let you get back. I know you like making noise in set 5. What is the plan down there? Is it just to go crazy and have no voice?
Absolutely. I plan to have no voice by the end of this game and to support our men's team as much as possible in order to win this 5th set.
Well, I'm going to let you go, and we're going to bring in someone that doesn't quite agree with you. I know you two get on, but here comes Sophie. She's going to the commentary box. Thank you, Alexis. Sophie, the men's team love putting you through emotional stress.
Yep, that's a polite way of saying it.
Obviously, what have you seen kind of set 3-4? You know this team well. You've seen them all season long. What kind of didn't go to plan in set 3 and 4?
Well, I think we're normally not used to starting off the first two sets so comfortably. Like, I think we can agree that the first two sets, like, Malory put on a really impressive performance, and then they let the foot off the gas in the third and fourth set. So there's a lot at stake here. Obviously, fifth set in National Cup final, we've been here before, so now it's all about whether the players actually dig deep and pull together for each other.
Well, the one thing I think you've got in your favour, and you know this is the third time these two sides have met. Both went set 5. Malory Eagles winning both 15-9, 15-12. What do they have to do to repeat it right now?
I think it depends on the grit on the team. You know, sometimes it's tempting to make a last-minute change in lineup, but if we just kind of go back to what we know and play consistently and just show that heart, there's no reason why we can't pull through in this fifth set.
There you go, there you heard it. Both teams fighting their case. We'll let Sophie go downstairs. We'll see you in National Cup action tomorrow afternoon. Team side out Polonia. They're the thoughts of Alexis Diaz-Infante, Sophie Zizko, as we bring Jess Smith back in. As Mark Perkins saying, we love a 5-setter. Jess Smith, we do love 5 sets here in the Cup finals.
Oh yeah, we definitely do. I was talking to Mark Perkins between the previous match and this one, and I was saying, you know, it would be really great to have at least one match today go to 5 sets. Obviously, we all want it to be the Cup finals. Sorry, I was just looking at some stats while we were waiting. Sorry, while you were speaking to our special guests. I was just looking at the service errors because this was a theme during the Final Fours as well. So the service errors from Malory Eagles, 5 in that last set. They had 6 other errors in the last set, so 11 of the 25 points.
Well, ain't to 25 anymore, it's to 15, and Fullerton blocks Jacob Kern to start. There's a momentum swing for the Malory Eagles. They needed some block coverage. They get it right there.
Exactly what they needed from Fullerton. He's such a massive influence on the performance of the team as a whole.
Martinez, Jacob Kern on the serve receive. Cam Kern, I think the first time we've seen a setter dump from Kern. Cohen goes aggressive, doesn't pay off, but double block's going to be set, and the tip over the block. Jefferson Williams saw it coming, but he's not playing.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, but that's a really smart spot for Jacob Kern to put that tip ball down.
Cam Kern, net tape on the serve. Fullerton into the block. Ewan Fraser, Thomas Jefferson.
I think Fraser might have gotten most of that one because Fullerton was trying to go down the line with that ball. You can see he's just telling Martinez that he was happy with that set. And a bit disappointed with himself.
As Hassan Farhat gets a huge cheer walking past the Essex women's team. Down to our left, carrying some water bottles. Hunter, perfect pass. Malory need this, and they get it through Cohen.
That was textbook. Everything about that. Hunter with the most dimely of dime passes.
We need like a third camera out of nowhere. And we need 4. We need 1 on the Essex women's team. We need 1 on the Malory team, because both these sets of teammates are losing their minds.
I'm sure that the event staff here are really excited about your ideas.
Kern over the block with the kill.
Yeah, you can see Cohen just saying, look, that's my fault. I didn't quite close the block. We left a little bit of space for Kern, so he's gone over the smaller blocker of Kwame. It does feel a bit more solid from Eagles already. Not quite perfect, but much better than we saw in the previous set.
Hunter, ball in the air, right on the baseline. Kwame trying to get a set into it, but it's going to be a free ball. Inu on the 3-meter line. Pipe, touch, and they're going to call something. I think they're going to call...
I think it's a net touch on Cohen there. He nodded his head, so I think he knows. Probably just trying to...
It wasn't the most... kind of a soft whistle.
Yeah.
Wasn't like a decisive, but either way, Rebels with the point, 2-point lead. The dangerous Jacob Kern on serve. Kwame, great pass. Bun down the pipe. Cam Kern gets a hand to it. Jacob Kern going to push over. Free ball for the Eagles. Kwame off the tip. That's what Ben Kwame was doing so well early on. He wasn't going power, he was playing for hands, and that time he gets in. That's why he's so impactful for Malory.
It really is. He's using his athleticism. He's got plenty of time while he's in the air. He's got all that hang time, so he's just looking at what options he has available. Smart play from in there.
I can't think the last time. I'm not going to check. We're not going to be able to fully check, but Kwame feels like he didn't get killed in set 3 or 4. Throws a roll shot into the 3-meter arc. Essex are really reading that Malory is sitting back on the big swings and taking power off. It was early set 4 for Kwame, but again, 1 kill in set 4. And that's the type of thing you're looking at. Like, a lot of the Malory hitters have gone cold. So Rebels first to 5, that's always one of the milestones. The next one obviously is the change of ends at 8 as Pascal gets the block. Rebels 6-3 up. Carol Gordon, buzzer. Jefferson Williams, timeout. Malory Eagles.
They don't have much of a choice here because there's going to be a changing of ends at 8 points because that's what happens in the 5th set of volleyball. And mentally, that feeling of whoever gets to 8 first to trigger the change of ends, you carry that momentum into the back half of the set. And that's such an important thing. A little bit interesting, fun. It's not really a factoid because this is more of an opinion than anything else. However, just saw that Martinez was not able to do that block cover because what was he doing? Watching his set. And this is something that I've been discussing with some friends, and it was discussed on some commentary on another event. The number of setters that set the ball and then watch the set rather than be prepared for block coverage gets an eye every time.
So 6-3 Essex lead after the timeout. Thomas Jefferson to serve. Down the line, Kwame, aggressive play. Clark, big set by Martinez. That wasn't an easy ball to set, and he got it perfect.
It was perfect. I mean, the connection between him and Clark has been magnificent all night. But it feels like every time they come out of a timeout, they're going to the middle. So interesting that Rebels haven't picked up on that, but also interesting that they're still continuing with that and getting success out of it, but then don't seem to be going to the middles as often outside of that.
Pascal, 5th kill of the day on the gap ball.
Another really great connection there between Cam Kern and Pascal. That's a very fast set, so the timing has to be perfect, and he had a good connection there.
Fraser's had a big serving day. A lot of the ball going to Kwame. Clark into the block, going to be tight. Martinez, big set. Kwame with the two-handed stuff. That's huge by Ben Kwame. He was huge in set 5 in Essex in that March win. He had a big set 5. Can he rescue his team? He's got to do it on the service line now. Malory needs probably 1 point here would be huge. To go down 8-6 instead of 8-5 to the change would be huge psychologically.
Yes, it will.
But Essex have been flawless onside out so far. Kwame, big serve. Ianu Rowe is the target. He's going to make no mistake. Shut him in with the tip. Clark, great awareness to hang in the air. Kern from the pipe. Kwame gets a hand to it, but no control. And we will change ends with the Rebels leading 8-5.
Yeah, again, we've talked about service pressure quite a lot. They're going to be changing ends here. Eagles will be a little bit disappointed on what the scoreline is at this change of ends. But Rebels in full control right now. They are locked in. They've adjusted what they need to adjust. And the service pressure, I think, from Eagles right now is just not enough to put them off. Rebels here just asking who the next server is. It will be Shatman. They're just checking. It's always good to check, though, when you've swapped ends, because sometimes it gets a little bit confused in the jumble of moving around.
Should have been. Doesn't hit the serve. First service error of set number 5. Long set out to Jacob Kern off the hands of the block.
Smart swing again. You can see that they're really looking at the hands of the block, seeing what the block setup is, and it feels early, but then we're only playing to 15, but we've got Osborne coming back in for this service substitution.
As Osborne into the net.
That's a repeat of what we saw in set 4. He came in and had a service error, but not quite making the impact that he wanted to. Interesting that Rebels are going with a 2-man pass here.
Martinez dots the corner, Kern leaves it, and that gets the Eagles to within 1.
Massive bit of momentum here for Eagles.
Timeout, Alex Porter.
Yeah. That service error followed up by an ace from Eagles will be massive for them. But again, such an odd service reception choice to go with a 2-man service receive with a big stack in position number 4, making it really difficult to judge whether that ball going deep to position 5 is in or out. And it didn't look like there was a lot that Rebels were discussing there. It was mostly just like a 30-second deep breath.
So sometimes all you need, this group's got so much experience. They know how to win big games. They know how to not close out against Malory as well. Malory can get this tied. I think they'll feel the more confident team.
Yeah. I mean, history would say that Malory have a...
Martinez off the nest take. I think that hit the shoulder of Jacob Kern. He's front court, so can swing. Bunn gets a touch, but nothing more. That's big by Jacob Kern.
Massive swing from him there. He's really just going for those high hands.
Cam Kern misses, and we're back to a 1-point game. 10-9. Jess, this is pressure cooker time at its best.
It is. I mean, we've had 3 service errors in the last 7 points, all from Rebels.
Well, part of the Essex Rebels experience, right? Shut him in. Is this going to be the first ace? Not quite, but 3 ball. Jacob Kern did really well to keep that alive. Back set. Fullerton beats Fraser, and we are 10 apiece.
Massive time for Fullerton to get himself back into this match. Huge swing from him. Again, that draw of Eagles have been using their middles to great effect means that Thomas Jefferson wasn't quite out there for that block.
How's your nerves, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? That ball misses the baseline. Great lead by Ian. To be honest, as much as it was a lead, I think it was a, I'm in trouble if this is in. I don't want to make a play at it because I'm not going to get a good pass.
Yes, that would have been a poor pass. However,
Jacob Kern back to serve. 70% on the season, 18 aces, 69 errors going into the final form. And that's why, and he screams in frustration.
Yep, so we're tied up at 11-11.
But first to 4.
First to 4.
We promise you drama. This has delivered in every shape or form. Dylan Cohen to serves, 86% success. Shut him in, tight set. Kern to Jefferson, that's going to go out off the hands of Fullerton. Essex have that mini lead back, 12-11. Osborne into the game for about 3 seconds. Pascal back into the front row.
Yep, well, he had a service error, so Rebels have missed their last 4 serves. They haven't had one in. Will they make it in this time? Is Jefferson
well,
gonna put one in?
Jefferson's a safe server on this team. He leads the team in success. Kwame, perfect pass. Clark into the block. Hunter, big pickup. Martinez, Fullerton has to wait. Goes tip. Into the middle of the 4. defenders. No one
mean-
goes for it, and we are 12 apiece. We are going back and forth on side out.
We are.
Malory haven't led in set 5, I don't believe, unless it was 1-0 Malory. I can't remember.
It was one.
It was 0 Malory. Malory haven't led since that. Thomas Jefferson probably done for the day. He may get back in which case chaos
if we keep playing
happens.
side out, because you have to win by 2 clear points.
Fullerton shut him in right on the 4-meter line. Pascal into the block. Fullerton can't quite keep it in. Devon Pascal with a big kill. And Ewan Fraser to serve.
Ewan Fraser looking determined at that back line. Oh,
Jefferson Williams going to use the timeout. Make Fraser think about it. Remember, in the final, Ewan Fraser had the serve at match point down and put it over the baseline.
yes, he did.
This is smart by Jefferson. Make him think about the one at the biggest moment of the season, maybe.
Yeah.
As Free From Desire blasts out around the National Volleyball Centre. I've got Rob Payne away to our left, pacing. He doesn't know where this is going.
This is the fun bit, is like, even if you're not a fan of either of these teams, this is a nail-biting experience because it can still go either way. Nobody knows what's happening. And now we don't know what's happening. Not sure
We're
what
just
happened.
getting media kicked off the edge of the playing court. Little bit eager. That's the Essex Rebels social media team. I get it. Fraser, no, over the baseline. Great job, Jefferson Williams.
100% a coach's point to Jefferson Williams for that one. Exactly like you thought it was gonna happen.
Malory have made no subs. They can go big with blocking. For under on the bench. They're going to make that blocking change. Martinez's front row. Put Yasha in as a blocking setter. A little bit more height. Ben Kwame, he's been up and down all year with serves. Goes float hot top spin on the hybrid. We know it's going Kern. He beats Clark on the one-on-one from the pipe. Match point, Essex Rebels.
And I mean, it is absolutely going wild here at the National Volleyball Center. So we see Martinez is coming back in, Yasher's back out, so his match day is done.
Well, our one to watch was Thomas Shutterman. Match point, he is to serve. What can he do? Hybrid, Bunn went to step in, realised it was going deep, great pass, fuller turn, Ianu with a dig. Rebels might have a swing. That looked iffy, but where did Martinez go? He goes to Clark, miscommunication. They're going to call a net touch. Thomas Shutterman is mad, but I think Rebels got away with a little bit of a dodgy one the first time, and we're going bonus points, Jess Smith.
Yes, we are definitely going into extra time. It's now 14-14. As I mentioned previously, you have to win by 2 clear points, so we're going to at least 16 here tonight with Clark on the baseline.
Clark, Kern pulls his ball off the net, double block set up, squeezes it through the block. Jacob Kern, big swings down the stretch, match point 2 to the Rebels. Devon Pascal is the server. He can't come out because if he gets subbed out, he's done.
He can't come out because they've already done the swap.
Yes.
Swap back, so the substitution is complete.
Yeah. He goes float. Hunter plays. It's not a great set. Bund against 2. Finds the hand. Pascal not going to get there. 15 apiece.
What a time for Bund to come in with a really smart shot.
Alex Porter has a timeout. Do not forget.
Yep.
Malory don't.
Yes.
Martinez has gone to this serve, going at Kern a little bit. Look how shifted over this Rebels back line is. Trying to get Ianu a touch. Kern plays it. We know it's going back to him. Off the hands of Fullerton. Jacob Kern, nerves of steel.
Absolutely. I mean, this, and it's interesting that in the backcourt, Kwame hasn't adjusted to this because that's the 5th or 6th time now that Jacob Kern has gone high off the hands for that deep ball.
Cam Kern, leading ace getter for the Rebels. We know he will try and end it on one touch. What can he do? Goes float instead. Hunter, Martinez, Fullerton off the hands, out. That was not far away, and we go back and forth. 16 apiece.
I mean, this is exactly what everybody signed up for when they
But
bought
yeah,
tickets to the Cup Finals weekend.
Malory haven't had a chance to win the match yet. Everything is saving the match. They need to find 1 point on serve to flip and put the pressure on the Rebels. Bund, shut him in. Cam Kern, we know where it's going. Jacob Kern off the antenna of...
Using Fullerton because he knew that Fullerton wasn't all the way closed out to the pin, didn't have that block established.
But every ball is going to Jacob Kern.
Yep.
Watch out here. Kern again. He looked to the floor and up to us in discuss last time. What can he do? Rebels have got ball in play and forced Malory to do a job. Off the net, that was going to bounce right on the line. Overpass, terrific by Martinez. Shut him in, shuts it. No. Yes, they do. I thought they called something. And Tom shut him in. Wins the National Cup for the Rebels on a crazy block.
What a huge block from Shadaman. What a match, though. Honestly, performances from both sides, shutting down Fullerton to close things out for his team after really struggling in those first two sets, but then in sets 3 and 4, absolutely dominant performance despite 27 service errors from the Rebels. But definitely, there were 28 service errors, from the Rebels. Massive, massive match. We had some incredible scores, with one in particular as a standout.
Yeah, we'll talk about MVP stuff, but Jacob Kern, huge game, and we said he was going to be big for the Rebels, and he took every ball down the stretch, Jess.
Yeah, he did, and really at the end there, thinking about where he was going to be attacking at every single time he swung at the ball, using the high hands of the block, and absolutely ripping apart the Eagles.
And
defense.
Heartbreak for Malory again. Lost the final in somewhat controversial style last year. 26-24 in set 4 to Durham. And they fall just 1 or 2 points short. But it was so impressive from both sides. Just going side out for side out down the stretch. Malory led 1-0 and didn't get a lead in set 5. Never could quite get their noses in front.
Yep, and that was really just down to the fact that Rebels really came with that service pressure once they seemed to have turned things on from set number 3 onwards. So only 1 ace for Eagles tonight. There were 6 from Essex Rebels. Pretty close in kills between the two squads, with 54 from Rebels, 51 from Eagles. 16 blocks from the Essex Rebels tonight. That's a big number compared to only 5 from the Eagles.
Yeah, and obviously we talked about serve errors, but Essex got ball in play late, made Malory win it, and then that one monster block from shut him in. Young British players come through the system at Essex, got his moment, and clinched a championship for his side. And on the balance of play, Essex probably, over the course of the season, probably deserved a title, Jess. Obviously a great regular season. Didn't have an easy route in the cup, by the way. Durham, IBB Bologna, London Giants, Malory Eagles was their route to this championship. And you'd say that they couldn't quite get across the line in Final Four, so for them to do it here, huge credit to the programme, but probably over the course of a season, this team deserved a trophy.
Yes, they were absolutely incredible. Great to see them start out a little bit slow, but then bring that mental resilience into the game and put themselves back in it and play exactly to the level that we would have expected from them from the start. And from a spectator standpoint, really exciting despite the slow start for Rebels, because we all wanted that 5-set thriller, and thriller it was.
There's a lot of deep breaths. There's a lot of hugs going around the Essex Rebels. Malory looked broken, but you'd expect that. It's not like you have a opportunity to get it back. You have to wait 6 months. You have to think about this all summer long.
Yep, exactly that. So, I mean, from the Eagles standpoint, how much do you think it impacted them, the fact that Fullerton was a bit quiet tonight.
But he wasn't late in this. He wasn't in the fifth. It was the third and fourth, and that's the thing. I think Malory are going to be frustrated because set 3 and 4, they didn't put up any fight. It was a breeze for the Rebels. They just fell apart, and Essex are too good a team that when you do that, of course they're going to take advantage. But Malory would have lost to pretty much any team in the Super League playing like they did in set 3 and 4.
Completely agree.
And you can't give sets away in a cup final. Malory had to kind of earn set 1 and set 2. Rebels still weren't great, but Malory played well. They just gave 3 and 4 away, and then it comes down to a toss-up down the stretch in set 5.
Yep, completely agree. I mean, in set 3, Rebels outclassed them 6 blocks, 2 aces. Eagles had 0. And Eagles as well giving away quite a lot of errors in that set, finishing 25-16. Set number 4 also was 25-16. Eagles in that particular set giving away 11 errors, and it was really those errors that kept Rebels' foot in the door, and the fact that Rebels had cut down their errors versus sets 1 and 2. But I mean, Nathan Fullerton had 14 points in tonight's match, and that feels very, very low for him. I would have expected him to.
It's the error count as well, right?
Yeah.
Six errors?
Yeah, 6 errors. So 5 attacking errors from Nathan Fullerton.
Yeah, and it felt in set 3 and 4 it was more. As we're both teams about ready for presentation. Reminder, Jess, 6 finals done, 5 to go.
Yes. What a day of volleyball today, though.
Well, it's definitely a way to finish.
It was definitely a way to finish. So there was a lot of 3-set smashing going on today.
And obviously back and forth as we're about to start our presentation, and obviously we'll start our presentation ceremony. Our award giver for this final, VE board member Brendan Fogarty, and first of all we need to give our officials a mention. Yes, Sebastian Wilders, Martin Shakespeare. I wouldn't say it was simple, but just clean and effective tonight by our referees.
Yeah, completely agree with that. We have sometimes where there's moments where people question the call of a referee. I will say from personal experience that it's very difficult to get everything right 100% of the time. We are all human. However, tonight I feel like both of the referees did an outstanding job.
And obviously we're giving the flowers to Essex, but it takes 2 teams to play a final, and the Malory Eagles played their part. Obviously, Captain Logan, Clark and Jess. We said that Essex probably deserve a title, but this Malory team weren't far away. A couple of hiccups late in the year kind of cost them a shot at the league title, but they beat this Essex team 2 out of 3 times, fell in heartbreaking fashion in the semi-final to London Giants. It's still been a terrific season for Malory, despite not quite clinching the title they were so desperate to get.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing for them, but they finished with the bronze medal out of the Final Fours, finishing with a silver medal for the National Cup. So it is, they still have something for their efforts, and there's still plenty of room for them to grow as well.
Yeah, obviously the Malory roster, Captain Logan Clark, and then number 1, Ben Kwame, number 2, Brian Chong, number 3, Dan Hunter, number 5, Jordan Dalrymple, number 6, Josh Funda, number 7, Sona Yashar, 8, Nathan Fullerton, 15, Dalton Bunn, 16, Dan Samsung, 20, Bryce Bowen, 18, Dylan Cohn, 19, Joel Martinez, who had some huge setting moments for Malory, and then obviously Remy Cardo, number 17. Obviously a big loss for Malory, went out, lost Remy, arguably the best libero in times in the first half of the season, to a concussion season ending, and obviously the Malory coaching staff, Andrew Onshemi, Ian Legrand, Carol Gordon, Ruben Fernandez on the bench as well, the Malory player missing out from the final matchday squad, and of course Jefferson Williams.
Just walking through the Essex Rebels lineup here as they get their medals, starting with their captain, Jacob Kern. And then we've got the libero Lefteris Yanu, who had some incredible touches tonight. Then followed by number 1, Ben Osborne. Number 2, Nathan Hall. Number 5, Oscar Curzon Hall. Number 6, Jacob Lloyd Williams. Number 9, Sam Sherwin. Number 10, Asher Miller. Number 13, Davin Pascal. Incredible through the middle tonight. Number 15, Ewan Fraser. Number 17, Thomas Shatterman, who was our one to watch. Number 18, Thomas Jefferson. Number 35, Ben Butler. And number 97, Cam Kern.
Obviously the Essex staff as well. Josh Holdsworth on the bench, Callum Banks, Hassan Farhat, obviously another one out injured. Very nasty dislocation in the semi-final against London Giants. Bernard Quashie, and of course head coach Alex Porter. Another championship for Alex Porter, 2 on the season. And what a job he's done with this group.
Great season though, and a great finish for the Essex Rebels. They'll be really pleased, and I think that the ladies really contributed tonight with their cheers from the sidelines, and of course that drumming from Kaftali.
Indeed, well both teams were definitely in it in set, but I think you could tell how the game was going by just looking at the two teams respectively. Obviously a little bit energy draining for Malory Eagles ahead of tomorrow. I'm sure Sideout would have got a smile about that one.
Yes.
But I think we alluded to it, Jess, there's only one way we can go with MVP, and he had 26 kills. No doubt about it. Number 29, your MVP, Jacob Kern.
Yeah, and the MC in the building just saying that Jacob Kern scored 5 of the last 6 points, which is a fun one for your stat sheet, so he definitely made a difference for the Rebels tonight.
And we look at leading scorers across all categories. Kern 28, Fullerton 14, Pascal 12, Fraser, Shudderman and Bund all with 11. 26 kills, 8 errors, a lot of swings, and he carried that load late, as you said, yes, 5 of the last 6. I don't know who he wants up to receive the trophy. The championship banner's there. It's not, I think all the seniors for the Rebels, Shudderman, Sherwin, Fraser, Osborne, Ianu, the both Kerns and Thomas Jefferson, and they lift the National Cup. Not quite a cup, but we know what we mean, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, yeah.
And a great moment for Jacob Kern, really thinking ahead to get the seniors up with him.
Yeah, really, really smart from him. Exactly the type of leadership that you want from your captain on such a momentous occasion.
Reminder, we'll be live from about 10:45 tomorrow morning. 2 games to get us underway. The under-15 boys, Urmston Grammar, Richmond, and the under-18 girls, Leeds Gorse, Malory, not Malory Eagles, Boswells. And then we'll go, but stay with us. We'll get post-game reaction. I believe Jacob Kern and Alex Porter both going to come up and get their thoughts on what was a thriller here at the National Volleyball Centre. So we'll get them up as soon as they get there. Definitely well-deserved photos, Jess Smith.
Yes, definitely well-deserved photos. Really great performance from the Rebels lads tonight. And we'll be looking forward to speaking to both the MVP and coach Alex Porter.
Obviously, the other finals tomorrow, the senior women's National Cup final, Malory Eagles side out. That's going to be another thriller.
Oh, that's going to be the spicy match.
The other one, of course, the reverse fixtures. So 18s on the boys' side, and then the 15 girls to finish us off. First ever final for Wapping Junior program. They'll go against Richmond in the women's. And I'll be honest, I've forgotten the 18s off the top of my head.
It'll be Leeds. For the girls, it'll be Leeds and I think Boswell School. So we'll see a repeat of some of the ladies that played in the under-16 final today come out for the under-18s for Leeds tomorrow. And of course,
as the Kern brothers stay and get a photo. So just give us another minute to bring them up. We don't want to ruin this moment, obviously, as the Essex Rebels do what is traditionally the Malory Eagle celebration dance, but that was the song choice for DJ Cads. And the Malory Eagles girls aren't having any of it over to your left. I wish you could see that at home.
Yes, I do wish you guys could see that, but Rebels looking really into it. I love the camera angle on this. Them dancing in front of the champion sign. It's quite good.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Malory take that little bit of inspiration performance. Jess, I know we've got Jacob coming in, so
Sorry,
just your...
I'm laughing because I can see JoJo Cruz
Oh,
with
yeah.
her head specifically turned away from the court, putting her hand out like no.
So, but Jess, your final thoughts on what was a thrilling 5-set final?
I mean, it genuinely was so thrilling. You know, in those first 2 sets, it looked like Malory were in complete control. It very well could have gone 3-0. But then Rebels woke themselves up right from the start of set number 3 and decided they did want to take this one home and brought it all the way home in that reverse sweep. So really great performance from them. And it was lovely commentating with you again, Michael.
Yeah, you've got the privilege of the National Cup final. Obviously, our journey in pre-game, but you'll do that with the Essex Rebels women's head coach, Alex Chinnery. And I'm sure you'll get a well-deserved... You've got a line in the morning. Have you got the morning off, Jess?
I don't think so.
I think you do.
This is interesting. I don't know my own schedule then. That's good.
I'm pretty sure you do, because I think it's me and Alex on the 18th, which means you've got the morning off. Look at you.
Look at me. I can have a nice lie-in.
Right, but we'll let you go as Jacob Kern just coming to join us in the commentary booth. How glad were you for 3 weeks off having to go through that again?
Yeah, seriously. JK actually fit in shot. Yeah,
Yes.
just. You're too tall, man. Do you need me?
No, you're good. Welcome back to Kettering, joined as we promised with our game MVP Jacob Kern. Jacob, not the best start to the game, but you found a way.
Yeah, kind of similar to a couple weeks ago at Final Four. Slow starts, but it was cool. We found a way to kind of get back into it and, I guess close it out and get the win. So.
And I remember, obviously, you've had battles with Malory all year. We'll start with that. What was the mindset going into set 5? Because obviously it's a team you've gone back and forth with. You knew it was going to be this type of game, but you haven't come out on either set 5 quite the right score. So what was the kind of the mindset through that break of needing to break that curse at the right time?
Yeah, I think we knew kind of what we needed to do. Like you said, played them, I think 4 different times, all went to 5 and just couldn't squeak it out. But we knew that if we just stuck with it, took it point by point, I think we definitely learned a lot actually from the Final Four final, kind of blowing a bit of a lead in the 5th, giving it up a little bit. So I think having that experience, able to our memory banks and rely on it, it worked out.
And obviously, let's break down set 5, point for point. You got a couple of point lead, but I think you knew Malory were never going to quite quit. But then down the stretch, you knew the ball was going to come to you. It kind of become the bread and butter. Obviously, having your brother Cam setting really helps. But what was your mentality in that late in the 5th set?
Just sticking with it. I think as soon as we switched sides, I think we missed like every serve. We only made 1 or 2 for a long stretch there, which was kind of tough. But we knew
your head coach who just walked into shot and got a nod of her head. I think he knows exactly. I always don't know. We were talking about serving woes, Alex. Yeah.
Yeah, but we knew that we would just trust our side out, and we found a way to battle and then make a couple serves down the stretch, so it was good.
And just talk about this group. Obviously, you brought all the seniors up. A lot of them have been here a little bit longer than you in terms of the British setup, but just talk about the chemistry you built with this group and how special it is to conclude what's been a really successful season with a title at the end of it as well.
Yeah, totally. I think for a lot of the guys that are leaving, I think almost half our team is going to be new next year, so it was good to get them a good way to end their careers and a good final game. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. They're a fun group to play with. So.
Well, Jacob, we appreciate you've had a great season, and we'll swap you out for your head coach. But congratulations, you are the Men's Cup Final MVP.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, as Jacob Kernan. We'll just switch him in. As Alex Porter comes in to the commentary booth. Alex,
we might need to tilt it up a little bit.
Oh, might need to. Yeah, I might need to get a step stool as well. But They don't make it easy for you, do they, this group?
It'd be boring if it was a straight 3-0, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, I suppose. But just talk about end of set 2. Obviously, you had that experience against London Giants in the final 4, coming back from 2-0. Obviously, you couldn't get over the line, but you knew you could get it to 5. So what was kind of the message going into that set 3 to kind of flip the switch and get the turnaround started?
You know, this game is a game of 2 halves, right? The first, I don't know, 2 sets and a little bit. You know, if you'd ended the game there, Malory would have won that quite comfortably. And then it changed and it flipped around it, and suddenly you could see us playing more like we have done throughout the whole season. There was no anxiety or concern about anything, and our consistency went up. And we started to serve both the outsides more than we did at Dan as in the libero position for them. And that allowed us to play a slightly different game. And then like our serve receive, you know, it's always going to go peaks and troughs, but it started to kind of become more consistent. We were able to run the middles a little bit more, and TJ and Davin were being more vocal the whole time, which allowed us then to create more one-on-ones. And we got an obscene number of one-on-ones today by having those middles being super vocal.
Indeed, and obviously the resilience of this group. You talked about confidence late in sets, but what was going through your mind in set 5? It was point for point, but how important was it that you had the advantage the whole time? You didn't quite let Malory take the lead.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things, again, where if you look at the statistics across the whole season, it's like, where are we as an average? And as long as we're playing inside a band, you know, like some games we are going for broke on our serve all the time because we trust our serve receive, because our serve receive is pretty damn good. When you've got, what was it, 4 errors on the bounce, I think it was, it's like, that's fine, because we're going for it. Yep. And we know that actually we're more likely to score an ace or put them out of system on the next one. So I was trying to be as stoic as possible and nice and calm. But when it's like the 4th one in a row, you're like, okay. And so then you start asking the players, like, just go for your favourite serve. Yep. Give them the confidence that I'm not telling you what to do or what not to do. I'm telling you what you're best at. Yep. Go do your best, which like Tom changed his, then Cam changed his. And then that starts to build the confidence again.
Of course, and we need to touch upon the group. You've got a fairly big graduating group in terms of the British core as well. Thomas, you and stuff like that. Just how pleased are you with their development over your time with yourself and the programme?
Yeah, you know, I've been 11 and a half years, and it's not about the X and sorry, it's not about the wins and the losses. Yeah, you know, we are very successful with what we do, but what we focus on more is about the athlete development. That's developing as an athlete, as a human being as well, and that's the bit I'm really proud of, is that how together that group was, that brotherhood that the guys have got, and every year it's a slightly different brotherhood. And yes, we've got a half-decent size graduating group. I think we've got 8 guys leaving, but we had 18 on our roster. Yeah, and that bodes really well for next year. We'll have another 4, 5, 6 guys come in, because we normally run with 15, 16. Yeah. Yeah, we were very lucky to get TJ and Ewan back again at the beginning of the season. That was a blessing for us, which has put us in this situation.
And how do you encapsulate this group's journey this year specifically? Obviously, didn't quite get over the line of Final 4, but 2 championships. Is that a successful season?
They set out 224 days ago with their goal, which was to win 3 golds. Yeah, but it was about the group being together and about trusting each other, backing each other up, and making good decisions. Yeah, most of them have got it printed out in their bags, which they see every single day. And you know, 224 days is a long season, but it's not over. You know, we've got Derby Day or Varsity on Wednesday, where we can win another gold, and then we've got Bucks Beach at the beginning of June. So I'm really proud of them. And they should be proud of each other, of them as this collective, this brotherhood.
You see the 3 Canadians down there getting their photo. Alex, we'll let you go. I know you want to do a little bit of celebration as well. It's been a long season, but congratulations on the National Cup.
Perfect. Thanks, Mickey. Much appreciated.
No worries. There's the head coach of the Rebels, Alex Porter. And that will just about wrap us up here on stream at the National Volleyball Centre. Reminder, join us tomorrow. We'll be live from 10:45. 5 more finals, but from now, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.